Recording there. We're good.
Good evening, everyone. The highlights of the news: traffic accidents. Beaver County man being held for murder. Is more later.
What's going on, y'all? You're tuning in to the highest rated, most listened to podcast to ever grace the airwaves, and you're a better person for listening to us. All right, maybe not, but you're really going to enjoy it anyways. This is Made to Motivate podcast, and we'll be talking social media hot topics, pop culture news, the greatest in movies and music, and all things sports. Make sure you're following us on social media at Made to Motivate podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can watch the show on our YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, and with that being said, let's get this show started. Now. What is... It's kind of loud still.
Shut up, damn it.
What is going on, y'all? Made to Motivate podcast. This is season 4, episode 19.
Wow.
This is your host, Ryan Weiss. I'm joined, as always, by not Jesse Young from Sports Illustrated, but we do have Chris, the film freak, Kessinger.
What's up, my man?
Dude, that jersey's dope.
Representing King Booker.
I like it.
That's right.
It's a sexy jersey.
Feeling good as a motherfucker, man.
Dude, killing the game. They're killing it. Jesse is off. I don't know what he's doing. He's birthing babies or something tonight, so he couldn't make the show. Me and Chris are going to hang out, though, and entertain you all.
Yeah.
What's new and exciting since last week? Anything cool?
Man, what a busy weekend this was. Like, as to where I never have anything to talk about, this weekend, full blown, full pack. So Friday, you and I, we go to the drive-in, Barberton, Lake, Magic City, and they're showing a couple of classic movies to go along with the 2 current movies they're playing, which was Spiral and Chaos Walking.
Walking Chaos.
Yeah, Walking Chaos. So we go see Back to the Future and The Goonies, which was
classic.
Awesome. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it kind of surprised me. Nobody was really there. It was very small attendance.
Yeah. I was a little bit surprised. I mean, I think I always feel like the classic movies, when I see them online, people are like, oh man, yeah, I want to go to that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that many people.
Nobody follows through with it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those interested in things, but they never go to it.
Yeah. I don't know if it's too early in the season still for people. I don't know if the time plays a part in it. I think that's part of it. But I mean, to see the other side have more people, I was kind of surprised just based on the movies that we're playing.
Yeah. And then Saturday I went to a wedding, which was cool. It was my first gay wedding ever. So
cool.
That was pretty badass.
2 gents or ladies?
2 ladies.
Very cool.
Yeah, 2 beautiful ladies.
That's awesome.
Definitely belong together for sure. Man,
Yeah.
they never put 2 more compatible people together than those 2.
Very cool.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Got a little tipsy toward the end of the night.
Yeah.
Had some good company at my table. But yeah, that's
good views.
That's about it.
Weddings always have good views.
And then Sunday, I went to, well, first of all, I played golf, as you can tell by my farmer's tan today.
Yeah.
God, got red real much.
Where were you guys? Where were you at?
Rinky Dink, which has like very little shadow or cover, anything about it.
Yeah.
So
it was a hot one too.
Yeah. So did that and then drove. I had 40 minutes to get out from Medina to Canton to go see Stand By Me on the big screen. My second favorite film of all time.
Heck yeah.
It was awesome. And we had a good crowd too that were real into the movie. So it was fun to watch with them.
Yeah. I feel like if you're going to that, you've got to be a fan. Like, you're not just going to see Stand By Me at the theater for the hell of it for a Sunday movie. You're
for
going
$12.50.
Yeah, you're going because you're a fan, which is a fantastic movie. So well worth a view.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's it, man. Yeah.
That's cool.
What about you?
Friday driving in, Friday night, which was awesome. Good times. Hopefully for more of those.
You got the greatest marketing ever for a card slot. What was that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. They're really awful painter's tape insert chip here, and I really dropped the ball. I didn't take a picture of Walking Chaos. That would have been a good one too.
Oh yeah,
might be able to pull it off their website still.
I'm sure you can.
But yeah, so went to the drive-in Saturday. Finally fully really broke in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
We were supposed to do a cookout for Mother's Day and my mom's birthday and my stepmom and all that about 2 weeks ago, and then we had the real shitty weather where it was like 50 degrees out, so we postponed it till this Saturday, which was my mom's actual birthday. And we actually celebrated on my mom's birthday, unlike Jesse, who lied to us.
It's the next week.
Yeah. So we had a big cookout. It was really, really good time. I don't know, like 10, 12 people came over.
God, those burgers look bomb.
Dude, they were really good. So the first time I made those burgers, I did them on a pan in my house on the stove,
Yeah.
which keeps all of the juice and stuff in, and I kind of basted it with it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I made them like another day, actually, after I had bought that grill, and I did them just on the grill, and they kind of dried out a little bit because there's nothing to keep them.
Yeah.
So when we had the cookout Saturday, I did foil. So then they were still charbroiled. I poked holes in it so the flames would still come through and they get that charbroil.
Yeah.
But the foil kept all of the juice and all of the brown sugar and everything in them. Man, they were fucking good.
Ooh.
So yeah, cooked out Saturday. Sunday, I had my first real bad allergy headache of the year, and I was down for the count. I didn't do much of anything on Sunday.
Did you mow your grass?
I didn't. My eyes are super red though and itchy today, and I don't know why. I don't know if it was just from being outside all day Saturday, if that was it. But man, Sunday I was just beat, and I did nothing. I tried to start cleaning my garage. Did that for like an hour and then gave up. I had to get it cleaned enough a little bit to get my bike out. So I got my motorcycle out of there because my buddy came by today. He owns a custom motorcycle shop.
Oh, badass.
And he's going to do a tune up and get it ready for the year for me so I can actually ride it. So Sandal Cycle Works, you can check them out. He is a retired firefighter, EMS. He did that for a really long time and then started his own business. Really nice dude.
Mm-hmm.
Does full custom builds, awesome paint jobs, tune-ups, things like that. They're based out of Cuyahoga Falls. So yeah, if you're looking for any kind of motorcycle work, check them out. Cycle Sandal Works. But yeah, he came by and picked my bike up today, so I'll be able to actually get riding. He's gonna service it up and everything for me.
The weather's been great for it too.
I'm ready
this week.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm on vacation next week, so I'm hoping to maybe get it back in time to be able to ride while I'm on vacation. We'll see.
Yeah,
he's gonna be out of town for a couple of days, but other than that, hung out. Nothing too exciting. Weather's finally here to stay, I feel like. Yeah. So I really want to plan another cookout, like a actual party type cookout, and friends and family and everything like that. Hopefully here very soon. And I'm looking to do some big remodeling projects on my house.
Yeah.
So I reached out to a couple contractors. If anybody is listening to the show does contracting and remodel work, hit me up. I want to put a full front patio or full front porch on the front of the house. And then I really want to do a bump out in my kitchen to be able to have an actual table in there. Mm-hmm. And then I want to do some work upstairs in the bedroom too, but big project. So I need someone reliable to come out and knock this work out ASAP. I'm ready to sign the check. Hit me up. It's hard to find workers right now, but I'm like, I don't want to wait like 2 years. When you're like, want to do it and you want to get it done. Mm-hmm. I don't want to wait 2 years for someone to do it. Like I want someone to come out and do it, write you the check, let's do it.
And that's how you are too. When it went to the deck, like when you started that thing, it was that I want to get this done within whatever it was, 2 months or whatever. And you did. Like that's how it goes with you. Like, you want it fast. Yeah. It's strange you mentioned your kitchen. Like that's probably the one negative critique I have about your house is that for some reason they built this kitchen, like the rest of the house, beautiful, wonderful. Yep. But this kitchen doesn't have room for a table in it. Yeah. Which is strange.
It's a really odd setup. And we could rearrange the living room different and have one in there, which I've seen people do. So like against the back wall. Yeah. But we'd have to have the couch, which we've thrown around the idea of doing a sectional. And then, so that way on behind the sectional, there'd be a spot to put a table there. But ideally I would like to bump out the kitchen and then do what I want to do is bump it out like 4 feet. And then under the window, do like a bench seating under the window that you could sit like 3 or 4 people and have like a long, thin table. Mm-hmm. And then if we have other people over, we could always put chairs on the other side of it, but not have to have them permanently. So getting another kitchen is not a big deal. So, but I want to do, there's work I want to be done. We've been here a little over 2 years at this point. Mm-hmm. Feel fully settled in and everything, but there's little projects I'd like to do just to have a little bit more space for when we have people over. There's plenty of outdoor space. Yeah. But it's hard to have people inside because we just don't have much seating. So bump that kitchen out and hopefully have some more room.
The porch, you have tons of room out there because you basically just have that garden area.
Yep. So yeah, if we do a full front porch, full width of the house, I mean, that would be huge. I want to put like a porch swing, put extra seating out front there. Yeah. That would give us a lot more covered outdoor space as well to have hang out and stuff. So
totally.
Yeah. So I worked on that, did some mock-ups and drawings and things of that and whatever, but That's about it. My uncle came into town today. He's
Mhm.
probably arriving like right now, actually, from New York. So we'll spend some time with him this week. He normally comes every Christmas, and we do like a Browns game and stuff. But then with COVID, they were travel banned, so he didn't come.
Yeah.
So it was like the first year like that went by, we didn't see him.
Hmm.
So he's coming out for this week. He plays in a band, Hurley Mountain Highway, and he's got gigs this past weekend and then this weekend. So he's just fitting in like 4 days.
Wow.
Before, so he had gigs Saturday, Sunday. He drove today, and then he'll leave early Friday morning. And then he has gigs Saturday, Sunday. His band, they're really good. He writes music. He's the singer, plays guitar. They book up like the whole summer. Like he'll have his entire summer will just be show. He's retired. He was a teacher in New York.
Oh, okay.
And he's retired now, and so yeah, they play a lot of shows though. It's pretty cool.
What part of New York is he from?
He's in Cornwall. It's a smaller little town.
Okay.
Not too far outside New York City. It's a little bit of a drive, but really cool area. There's this pizza shop by him. I cannot think of the name. I'll have to ask my mom or him, but there's this pizza shop by him that is insane.
Yeah.
Like it's worth, like when my mom would go there, like bringing it home, like bringing a box home with her. It's real good.
New York style's the best.
Man.
That is bar none. Chicago ain't got shit on New York.
I just want a big New York slice folded in half
Yes.
and eating it like a taco, man.
Yes.
So good.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's really it. As far as show goes, we got a couple things. Where do you want to start?
Let's get Hollywood knocked
Want to
out.
do Hollywood?
Yeah.
All right.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm! Wait. Everybody calm down!
Two, Steve, assemble!
Hollywood Report with Christopher Kessinger.
You know it.
What's up, sir?
Well, we have a lot to talk about this week. I wanted to get the sour stuff out of the way first.
Sour.
Unfortunately, Tuesday, which is a week ago tomorrow, got some bad news in the form of comedian Paul Mooney passing away. Now, for those who don't know Paul Mooney, he was basically Richard Pryor's right-hand man, wrote a lot of his jokes, and also credited to be his therapist, too.
Wow.
At the same time, it's a little inside joke between them, but it's actually factually.
Is he just, I mean, I don't want to say just, but was he just a stand-up comedian? Is that what he primarily did, or was he in anything else? I saw everybody posting about him, but I'm not familiar specifically with the name.
So he's been in movies, but they're very small role. Have you ever seen In the Army Now,
Yeah.
Pauly Shore?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a scene where him and Pauly Shore and Andy Dick, they go to kiss to basically get out of, because they try to say they're gay.
Yep.
He's the guy that goes kiss him. You know, he's the black lieutenant or whatever. Who's there? So small roles like that he's been in. Huge. He had a big rebirth with Chappelle Show.
Okay.
Because he was Ask a Black Dude, Paul Mooney.
Okay.
And like there was one on there where they asked him a question. Stephen King asked him something creepy, and he gives off this strange little vibe. And he's like, "Man, that's a strange and stupid question from Stephen King." So
I think I'm one of the very few people that never watched Chappelle Show.
Oh my God,
really?
really?
And I hear it. I mean, everyone said I might have seen like a random episode here or there, but I never like turned on and sat down and watched Chappelle Show. I don't know why. It's one of those shows I just missed. I never like really bit the bullet on like diving into it. And everyone talks about how good it is. I really need to give it a shot.
It's funny because a lot of shows, sketch comedy shows get compared to Saturday Night Live or Mad TV, obviously. Chappelle Show was like those in structure, but as far as the follow through and the execution goes, so much different.
I think that's probably part of it too. Cause like I'm not super into TV. So like growing up, like in high school and stuff, it was cool to like stay up late and watch Saturday Night Live or Mad TV. That was like the thing to do. And then you'd talk about it with your friends. But like when I got past that initial phase, I didn't really watch much of it. So like for me to turn on TV and just watch something like that just doesn't hold my like attention as much as like I need like a really good movie to watch, or The Office, which I'll watch over and over and over and over again. But otherwise, I don't really watch much TV.
Gripping drama is usually the
yeah.
But yeah, Paul Mooney
Sad,
to me
though.
was always my favorite comedian personally. So I went to see him twice, actually, once in 07 and once in 09. Met him in 07. Have the picture of it on my Facebook, which I shared recently. Totally nice guy. And it's funny because a lot of his act is this whole, comparing black and white culture to each other. And he breaks down white culture like nobody else ever does. But it's funny, like when I walk up to him, I was a little intimidated.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, I hope he doesn't hate me or anything. Nicest guy ever. Was totally cool. Totally was not living his act.
You've met a lot of like semi-famous or famous people. I feel like
For
you're
sure.
always sharing pictures. Favorite person you can think of that you met offhand?
Oh, easily Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. The nicest guy that I've ever sat with. If I was an asshole, I could have sat there and taken up an hour of his time and said to hell with everybody else waiting in line.
And he would have done it.
That dude would have talked to me forever. I actually had to stop him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah, he's totally cool guy. Yeah. With Mooney though, definitely check out some of his stuff. All of his albums are available on YouTube. I recommend Race, an album called Race.
Okay.
Amazing. So yeah, I just wanted to shed some light on that.
Absolutely.
Getting into the discussionary pieces this week, we're going to start off with Wonka. So as you know, Willy Wonka started as a literary series of novels.
I didn't know that.
You didn't? Wow. In the 50s and 60s, Ronald Dahl's. But yeah, so basically they were made then into movies. The 1973 Gene Wilder film. You've seen that, I trust.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then, of course, the 2005 remake with Johnny Depp.
Yep.
So there's now a third film, which is actually a prequel. It tells the story of Wonka before he was the factory magician. And it's simply titled Wonka. And it is going to be starring Timothée Chalamet in the titular role.
Remind me of what he's from. I know the name, but I can't think of a show. Or
He's
movie.
in Dune. This coming stuff you'd know. Oh man.
I'll have to pull it up.
Call Me by Your Name. Do you remember that?
The name sounds super familiar, but I can't put a face to it.
He was in Little Women. You'll know. Have you seen the new one, like that Greta Gerwig one from 2 years ago? Okay, yeah. If you see a picture of him, you'll know exactly who it is.
I'll look it up.
It's a young kid though, so they're definitely going for like a teenager, maybe early adult Wonka story. I think it could be promising. You know, there's definitely a lot of intrigue there as far as how the man got to be who he is. You know, a lot of that story is shrouded in mystery.
It's Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah,
he was in Interstellar.
Oh yeah, he's the little boy, small role. He's McConaughey's son.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So it's going to take place beforehand and just kind of lead up to like more of a character piece type thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So
interesting.
I think it's interesting. It's going to be cool to see, I don't know, kind of how he came into the riches and how he got to be the #1 chocolate maker in the world.
It'd be cool if it's done right.
I like that casting.
I really like character piece movies. Like, so if it's done well, it'd be cool to see that backstory of that movie.
For sure. Yeah. Moving on a little bit, we got our first Eternals trailer today from Marvel. This is the one that our own Jesse is anticipating highly.
Yep.
But yeah, I checked this out today and I got to say it's interesting. Did you get to see this?
I've not watched the trailer. I saw a couple of the like clippings, like posters or whatever, but I haven't watched the trailer yet.
It's interesting because so from a visual standpoint, this looks unlike anything Marvel's done.
Yeah.
It looks more like a DC film, if anything.
Okay.
To me, it's dark and very it's like epic. It's got an epic feel to it. The tone, the soundtrack, everything. And Angelina Jolie's in it, you know, so they've got some big name hitters for sure. Supposedly Thor's supposed to be worked back into this too. So
the feeling I kind of got when just a brief glimpse of the poster I saw was it reminded me of Justice League. How you're saying DC.
Yeah.
Just the layout of how they had them all like standing. I don't know why. It reminded me of the Justice League poster that came out with all of them like just like stacked.
I could see that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the trailer visually reminded me of that big time because as to where Marvel's about these almost, you know, bulbous kind of vividly almost abstract paintings, you know, like this colorful, you know, very much comic book kind of presentation.
Yep.
This film was very, I don't know, it looked like decaying almost, you know, which is strange, but I'm down for it. I checking out the trailer. Looks good. You know, it doesn't give away a lot, which I love. That's kind of been my problem with Marvel trailers is that you feel like you know the whole movie after 2 minutes.
Right. What are we looking at? Expected release time?
November
this year?
Yeah, November 23rd, I think is the date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So also some interesting news this week. Kevin Spacey is returning to his first role since he got accused of sexual abuse to Anthony Rapp, the actor from Dazed and Confused.
Okay.
So basically what's interesting about this is he's set to play a detective investigating a pedophile, and he's supposed to be sticking up for this pedophile in the film. So he's basically fighting the crime for him.
He's fighting himself, basically.
Yeah. Do you think this is a right move? I mean, to break yourself of this PR nightmare?
Yeah. I mean, to an extent, I'm okay with him being back, I guess. You know, we've talked about like doing your time and moving forward and stuff on the show many times. And depending on what you were guilty of or the crime you committed, for the most part, I'm okay with that. I don't know fully in depth what he was. I know it was something with sexual, harassment or something along those types of lines.
It was sexual abuse for Anthony Rapp, and he was a teenager at the time.
Okay. So, I mean, that's a tough one for me. I think if anything, the studio, whoever is taking a big leap of faith with him.
Yeah.
I'm sure Spacey himself is ready to kind of get back out into some kind of normalcy and do what he does. What a weird role to take on as your first one back, though. I don't know. I feel like that's just like people are going to see that movie and just instantly be reminded of what he was out of the picture for.
Yeah.
Come back and do something lighthearted and like
different.
Step into the scene first.
Yeah.
And then you could always take on a deeper role like that. I don't know. It kind of seems like a setup for failure.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Just the fact that anybody who does actually go see this movie is always going to be thinking about that in the back of their head. And it's not a good look for the movie. And it's not a good look for, the innocent producers who have nothing to do with it in the first place.
Yeah.
But their movie's destined for failure with that kind of thing.
Have you seen any, when did this get announced? Just pretty recent?
Yeah, it came out yesterday that it blew up all over.
I was saying negative stuff already.
Yeah, mostly negative connotation for sure.
I figured.
Yeah.
Do you think any chance they pull it? You think if it gets enough heat, do you think they'd pull him off?
I would think so, because I mean, they're just now getting greenlit. Like they haven't even started production yet. So
they've got time to recast.
They could totally they could either halt the project altogether or, like you said, recast.
Yeah. They probably tried testing the waters, see but if they get enough negative, like you said, I mean, the other parties involved are all going to be punished for it. And, if nobody goes to see it because of it, that's tough.
Kevin Spacey's still responsible for the craziest fixing in cinema history that I've ever seen. It was a movie, All the Money in the World, that came out in 2017.
Okay.
And Kevin Spacey was supposed to star as Getty, John Getty, who was at the time the richest man in the world.
Know the name.
So they completed the film. They were getting ready for a December release and all that. And then in October, this whole Spacey thing broke, the story about him and Anthony Rapp. And the producers decided, we're pulling Spacey and we're going to put Christopher Plummer in the role instead. And we're going to do reshoots for the next 2 months. These reshoots lasted until 13 days before the release date.
Wow.
That is one of the closest production to release date ratios that I've ever seen in my life.
Every single scene that he was in, they had to reshoot with everybody.
Yep.
And then re-edit it.
Yeah.
Wow.
The interesting thing
was it decent? Was it even a good movie?
I saw it. It was decent enough. Yeah, I think I gave it a 7 out of 10 at the time.
That's fair.
It just makes you wonder what Spacey's take could have done. Plummer's a solid actor too, but Spacey actually looked like the role, like visually.
Yeah.
So it's just funny because Paramount, who did the movie, they've talked about they have the Spacey cut laying around, somewhere.
Release it.
And you always wonder, like with everything, especially with the Zack Snyder cut, are we ever going to see the light of day with something like this?
Hey, I mean, at this point, I say release it.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? Just put it out there. If anybody wants to see it, cool. If no one watches it, they don't watch it. But
I say,
like don't put it in theaters.
Right.
Put it to a direct to TV or Netflix or something like that.
I would do something where it's like, we're not going to have any financial gain off of it. Like, we're just doing this to show you, here's what it could have been.
Exactly.
So
I think that's fair.
Yeah. 2 more things. Getting into the world of streaming, Netflix really wants to get into video games. So Report is suggesting Netflix is considering a bundle of games, reportedly searching for an executive to head up an expansion. The report suggests that Netflix approached multiple veteran game industry executives regarding the position, which would expand its effort into video game technology. Ryan, what do you think about this?
It depends on what route they're looking to go. I think if you're trying to be a blockbuster video game company, you have no chance of getting in the game versus Sony or an Xbox. Even Nintendo just barely holds on. Like I love Nintendo. I love the classics. I have a Switch. I play it every so often. But you're not competing with Xbox or PlayStation. You're just not. So if they're going the route of like what Apple did, and doing like an arcade style that might cater to like kids at home, if there's nothing to watch, then, their parents can turn on Netflix and let them play video games. I think it might be all right in that aspect. But if they're going to try and get into like releasing Maddens and Call of Duties and stuff and play it on Netflix, it's not going to be successful.
Yeah, it's
won't.
interesting reading this article. So it's not that they're going to take, franchises from Xbox or PlayStation, like popular proven franchises.
Trying to do their own.
It's that they're going to do their own. Yeah. So to me, I think it would have a better chance if you almost had to pay double and tried to get some of these franchises on board.
I just don't find it's just one of those niches that I don't find necessary to try and have an extra competition. Those names have been so long standing and successful this late in the game. What are you trying to accomplish? Netflix is huge. They're a monster. I get that they're looking for different revenue streams, but I just don't think video games is it. I don't know. I don't know how many people would buy into that.
I think the one positive that they have in their corner is that it's instant. Obviously Netflix, you turn on your TV and it's right there.
Yeah.
So there is no, I have to go out and I have to wait in line for, $700 plus 2 weeks waiting for a console.
Of course.
I think that's the one joker that they have in their cards.
Yeah.
The problem though is, like we've said, in competing with three proven titans of the video game world, forget it. It's not going to happen.
I mean, who's come along in the last 20 years? No one. I mean, it's been the same three moguls for as long as I can remember. We had Genesis when I was growing up, failed. We had Sega, you had Dreamcast,
Neo Geo,
failed. I mean, they're Sega Saturn. They've tried and failed. You're not competing. It's just not it's too expensive of a hobby to facilitate the willingness of people to have multiple. Some people might have a PlayStation and an Xbox. Okay. But you're not going to have 3, 4 like you have Netflix and Amazon and Apple TV and HBO Go and Hulu. Like, you're not going to do that with a video game platform. Those are $10 a month.
Yeah.
I don't see people spending the money to have that. So it's really going to depend on how they release it, the types of games that they offer. If they do it like Apple TV again, and they do like an arcade style where they're just like little fun mini games to keep you busy in downtime. Okay. I never even got into those. And I'm a big Apple fan, but I never got into the Apple arcade either.
Yeah.
So it's going to depend on the audience and, really what they release and what their price point is.
Yeah. And their customer base has slowly dwindled down over the last year and a half. So this
competitors.
This feels to me like it's almost like a desperate ploy, throwing something at the wall, seeing if it sticks.
Cause you got to think about it. If you think about what the nice thing about Netflix was, or even, an Amazon Prime or something, is it was an escape away from cable. Yeah. It was a way for you to break that $150 a month bill to have cable and movies, So a lot of people said, all right, I'm going to break away from that. I'm going to do just Netflix. I'm going to cancel cable and I can watch TV shows and movies on there and spend $15 a month, and then now what's become of that is everyone, which I said was going to happen, wants their own piece of the pie. So now Disney pulled their stuff and made their own platform, and Apple pulled their rights and they have their own platform. And then you've got Hulu and you've got HBO. Everyone's creating their own. So now you're back to the start.
Because if it works for one, it'll work for all.
Exactly. So you're like, well, if I want to watch all the content I like, you're back to having 6 or 7 platforms and you're just paying what you were paying before. You're just paying to 7 different people.
I remember on an early episode, you guys talked about this, how everybody has a streaming service coming out. Yep. And that was the one thing that I agreed with was, it just seems like you're running into a bunch of cable channels too. Like the same thing.
You're just literally now you're paying for individualized channel subscriptions rather than paying Time Warner for the bundle of everything. Now I'm just have to pay it to every individual person, which is what cable essentially was therefore was to combine everything into one package deal. Yeah. You paid one price and that was it. But the pricing was getting so ridiculous. So like when Netflix like I've got AT&T TV, that's included in my phone bill. It's like dirt cheap and I can watch live sports and I can watch live TV and everything on there. I have the channels that I would have if I had like Time Warner or Spectrum or something, and I broke away and I got that because it was a quarter, if not less than it was for cable. And that was fantastic. But now, I've got them all. I think I have I've got Prime, I've got HBO, I've got Disney Plus,
Netflix.
I've got Netflix, I have Hulu. I have all of
you got the big ones anyway.
It's silly.
Yeah, it's funny. Like to me, so I look at something like with your package, the AT&T deal. The thing with that is the pedigree isn't even the channels themselves and the access to like HBO and all that. The pedigree is the on-demand stuff. Yep. So that's where you'll find all this stuff under one roof, and that's what I like. If you could find a provider that is just based on demand, you know,
Right.
for everything. We include everything,
Right.
Disney, everything, doesn't matter. That's where you're going to find a big customer base,
Yeah.
because people are eventually going to get tired of this the same way you are.
And I wonder if that's possible. Like, I wonder what the streaming rights are. Like, I wonder if a company could come out, the Film Freak streaming app, and in that bundle you included Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Go, Hulu. I wonder if they allow something like that to be offered for a one price and you negotiate what it is. I wonder if that's possible.
I'd have to pay out my ass for sure.
Yeah. So I'm curious. You know what? The other thing that I'm curious about, I'm wondering if it comes, which with the way that movies are going and with all this direct to Netflix or direct to HBO or whatever, how far off do you think it is until Universal has their own and Paramount has their own?
I thought Universal had their own.
Do they have their own app? Well, I'm saying, like, rather than Snyder Cut going to Netflix or HBO, it goes to the Universal app, and you watch any new Universal movie specifically on their own app, and any new Paramount movie is specifically on their app, and they separate off and they don't go direct to platform with a Netflix or an HBO Go or something, and they now have their own.
I think that's probably about 60% possible in the realm of like the big studios. Like, Paramount used to be there. Universal, I think, is there today still. Universal would probably do it. Then you look at our studios, the ones we like A24 or Neon.
Right.
They're not probably quite that big yet that I would say, you know, come to our streaming service and watch all 56 of our movies.
Yeah. Just the big players, the real big players. I could see them doing that.
I could too, because greed always rules every decision.
Yep.
Final thing I got here this week is I posed a question to both of our hosts, obviously one not being here, but we'll do the best we can. Ryan and I, of course, as we already talked, we went to a drive-in on Friday. So I thought it'd be interesting if for one night we ran a drive-in and we showed the movies that we wanted to show to kind of reflect our tastes. So I asked each of us to pick 3 films that we would show as a triple header back to back to back. And, you know, there's no scheme for it. You can do it in formula, whatever you want. If you want to pick a franchise, go for it. It's all good.
I like it.
So I'll go ahead and start off. I'll give you time to think.
Yeah.
So basically with mine, the constant theme between these 3 movies is that each of them you'll find has a scene in a drive-in. Which I think is cool.
You've got one of mine.
So
You've got one.
So, you know, it's kind of life imitating art or art imitating life.
Yeah.
So the first one I'm starting off with is Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Cool.
You know, we've got the legendary scene, obviously, where he throws all that food to all the people he meets on his long distance journey.
Yeah. Are we running the drive-through?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I would say
that adds a little bit of what I would do then. Okay, cool.
And I would change up some snacks too, for sure.
Okay, cool.
So my second movie is Twister.
Yeah.
Was that?
Yeah, that was my one.
I would imagine. Yeah, the legendary scene where the drive-in gets ripped apart.
Yeah.
It shows around here so often, and I've always wanted to see it at a drive-in, but I never have.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah. And the final one is kind of a left side pick, but I figure when I think of drive-in, I think of summertime.
Yep.
You know, that's the reason you're there. And so I'm picking One Crazy Summer starring John Cusack and Demi Moore.
Okay.
It's an 80s comedy.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I think those 3 films would kind of, you know, they're lighthearted enough. You have fun, you know, and it's total popcorn cheesiness.
Yeah, absolutely. I dig it. Twister was on and off my list because I think that would be a movie that would just be fun to see at a theater.
Totally.
But since you already said it, I'll go with a different one. But number 1 would be Sandlot.
Oh God, yeah.
When you said with us, at least here in Ohio, and I don't even know how far outside of Ohio drive-in movies stretch, but in Ohio, it's a summer thing. And Sandlot to me is just one of those epitome of summer movies.
Oh, yeah.
It's that feel good. And if I ran the theater and I played it, I would absolutely want fireworks going off when it's the summer scene block party, you know, and they're watching it under the lights and everything. Sandlot for sure. And we would have to have s'mores in the concession and things like that.
Bring your beast night.
Yeah, bring your dog. And so Sandlot, absolutely. Jurassic Park.
Oh, good.
Would be one.
I saw that actually last summer at a drive-in. Yeah, awesome experience.
I would love to see that. My third one, Twister was on my list, but I would maybe go like a scary movie route. I don't know which one, but something just because you're outside. I think it just that feeling of the scariness, and you know, you're surrounded by woods and stuff, and watching the movie outdoors would be really cool. So I'd probably start off Sandlot Jurassic Park, and then end with something horror based, Halloween, maybe even The Strangers in the Woods.
God, oh man.
In which case, if whatever horror movie is, I would have a character out and about to like screw with people, you know.
Do your Mike
Like we
Myers
talked
idea.
about the Michael Myers and the lawn, or like if it was The Strangers, like people walking around with the creepy masks on or something, to give that overall just experience of being there. I think that would be super cool. So,
well, as I told you, we do the horror marathon every year, and what's one of the creepy ambiance factors to it all is that so you get late into the night, you're seeing the fourth film at about 2:00 in the morning,
right?
And you have kind of like sometimes that fog kind of rolls in right off the freeway and all that, and yeah, it adds to the experience of the film.
Absolutely.
So I think something like The Strangers would play perfectly into your menu.
Yeah, it's such a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite scary horror type movies is Strangers.
The second one wasn't horrible, but it wasn't the first one.
Not the first one.
Yeah.
First one was really good. Second one, like I wasn't disappointed I saw it, but I could have done without it. Like I would have been perfectly fine if they never made it. It wasn't anything great. So cool.
That's it.
I had one thing I added on there.
Okay.
Billboard Music Awards, I think, was yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
So Morgan Wallen, he is a country music star. We spoke about him on this show sometime within the last 6 months. I don't know. I can't remember the exact time frame, but sometime within
January.
January.
Yeah, because SNL had him on around then too.
Okay. So we had spoke about this gentleman, which I didn't really know about him until this controversy rolled out. And we talked about what happened with him and kind of discussed what our thoughts were. But a video came out of him. He was at his house throwing a party or something. It was late at night, and someone had videoed him from across the street yelling to like one of his friends that was leaving his house, and he used a racial slur, and it blew up, and he got taken off the radio, and TikTok was deleting his stuff, and social media was blowing up about him and everything. So Billboard Music Awards banned him from the show, but he won 3 awards.
Wow.
So my question is, what message does that send? You wouldn't allow him to be present, but you still awarded him with 3 Billboard Music Awards. Why not have removed him from the card if you were banning him?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think it's contradictory for sure.
Yeah.
So for one thing, thinking about the Billboard Music Awards, I think it's actually based on numbers and not voting so much. So like the Billboard charts themselves. So they look at someone like Morgan Wallen, who's a big country star, and they go like, he spent so many weeks on the charts, so he's going to be favored to win a lot of these awards.
Okay.
So I think in that aspect, it's probably out of their hands. But on the same aspect,
don't even announce.
It's your award show. Yeah. You can say who's nominated, who's not. You know, like if they made a movie about Hitler, God forbid, like, you know, and it ended up being this great movie that everybody universally praised, you still have the decision at the end of the day to go, look, we're glorifying Hitler here.
Right.
Like,
I just thought it sent a weird message. Like, I mean, if you're banning him from being there, you're still giving him an award. You're still rewarding him. I don't think he gives a shit if he was there.
Yeah.
He won 3 Billboard Awards.
Yeah.
You know, and to your point, his shit blew up after that controversy because everyone came out and said, well, we're going to support him anyway.
Twice as big.
And he got a lot of hits. But I thought that was interesting. I didn't watch it. You know, I don't really watch the award shows, but I
heard one thing.
I saw the headline, and then I saw MGK won Rock Album of the Year or something.
Did he?
Yeah. So, which was interesting. I mean, he got so much hate. He got so much hate because he started as rock.
Yeah.
And then he went rap, and everyone told him to stay to rock. And then he went back to rock. And he's winning awards because of it. And everyone's like, you're a fucking rapper. I'm like, well, whatever.
I mean, you can do whatever you want. I personally think he's a better rapper, but
yeah,
that's just me.
I like his energy. I know he gets a lot of hate, but I do enjoy his energy. It's cool that he's from Cleveland, if anything, and he's dating Megan Fox. So, you know, so I mean, ultimately, that's all I really care about.
Yeah.
I had the biggest crush on her growing up when she was in freaking like Jennifer's Body and Transformers. It's like, good Lord, man.
When Michael Bay knew what he was doing with that camera.
Yes.
Jesus.
And then she was married to Brian Austin Green for a while. And when they broke up, I was like, yes. And I started dating. I'm like, MGK. I mean, that dude, he's younger than us. So, you know, growing up, that dude was dreaming of Megan Fox.
Oh, for sure.
For like that to come to fruition. Could you imagine how you someday dating Haley Steinfeld? You know, like
I'd flip my lid.
I mean, that's your girl, like that you want to be with.
Oh yeah.
And then it happens. Like for him, that's got to be super cool. You never think you're gonna fucking ever date Megan Fox.
Yeah, and I actually thought she was older than she is. She's 35 years old.
She's gonna say she's our age.
Yeah, that's crazy.
She's our age, and he's a couple years younger than us.
So
yeah, and like, look, I know love's based on many different platforms. Okay, it's not all about looks and all that. I can kind of understand Brian Austin Green. Like, I look at him and I go, okay, he's a good looking dude. I can see, like, to some people, how he would be
90210, man.
Right. I look at MGK and I'm like, I don't see a damn thing about him that makes him even remotely appealing.
He's got that bad boy personality. He's got the mohawk and all the tattoos, and the painted nails thing is a big deal.
He owns a coffee shop.
He owns a coffee shop in Cleveland, which is cool. I mean, but yeah, he's got that bad boy personality. And I think that's what I think. When I think of Megan Fox, that's who I honestly picture her dating. I don't really see her with a Brian Austin Green. She's got an edgy, dark side to her. And I feel like an MGK is who I see her dating. You know, like, I don't see her with a clean cut boy band type of guy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that fits her personality.
I'm still waiting for her comeback, because to me, I always felt like the problem with her wasn't so much her acting or anything. It was the fact that she was saddled with these shitty, horrible movies, you know, and she deserves better. She was good in This Is 40 in comedy.
Yeah.
I thought she did good in that.
Yeah, I didn't mind her. I mean, she was an attractive woman that they put in the typical role that you would think that she's going to be put in. Like you said, she wasn't given a really great opportunity. What does she even do now? She just kind of like off the saddle, just not really doing much.
I think This Is 40 is the last movie I saw her in, to be honest.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe
Turtles.
She was in Turtles. Yeah. April O'Neil. Yeah. I like it.
You banana raincoat wearing bitch.
Yes. So, that's all we got for Hollywood, though. We can do a quick locker room talk, and then we'll finish out with Let's Get Social.
Swung on, line to deep left field. It is gone! 45-40, run, William, run! 20, 15. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up to the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the...
This is Locker Room Talk.
Speaking of LeBron James, one LeBron James hater in the room today.
Hey,
Christopher, the film freak Kessinger. What is going on with LeBron? So he, I didn't watch the game the other night, but I saw a headline about him getting like flagrantly fouled or something. And then people are saying he flopped in the normal LeBron fashion. And I don't know what happened. I'm going to ask you about that. But then the other thing is this I don't understand. He supposedly broke some kind of health protocol by being at an event for a sponsor of his or something he sponsors or whatever. And I guess technically he shouldn't have been playing in a game Friday or whatever. What are they? They're not in a bubble anymore. Are they not allowed to interact outside of their games?
So let me retract half of my statement that I made earlier on my Facebook page,
which was
basically that he should be suspended.
Okay.
You know, and all that. He should not be suspended, but he should be fined.
Okay.
So basically, NBA, yes, they're out of the bubble this year, but there's still a protocol going on that they have to keep it within their family, you know, their appearances within their family. They cannot have any outside interaction with the outside world. Yes. So James Harden,
they're locked at home. They're on like lockdown.
They're not locked down, but they're encouraged to stay at home. And if you're seen at a party or anything, it's looked at as risky. Even though LeBron is vaccinated, it is looked at as risky. He can still be a carrier for that.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that they were on any sort of like lockdown protocol like that at this point.
To put my argument into context, and it's not just because they're playing the Suns right now. I'll get to that part of it later. But to put into context, James Harden on January 2nd was fined for the exact same thing. He was fined $50,000. Peanuts to him, but still he was fined.
Yeah.
He went through the motions of how to do it. You know, he paid his fine and then he returned to the court.
Yeah.
I asked the same thing.
Where was he? Where did he? What was he doing? Where was he at?
Harden was, it was the same thing. I think he was at a bar. Like he was spotted at a local establishment.
He was at a titty bar. That's why he got fined. It's a little close encounter there.
The thing is, COVID doesn't discriminate. You can get it anywhere. Absolutely. So for my money, it's the LeBron thing is just as big of a threat as the James Harden thing. So for me, I don't think he deserves to miss time for it, but $50,000 or whatever you got to fine him. Yes.
Yeah. I guess with me, I guess my thing about that is if they have that health protocol because they're concerned with spreading, then the right answer would be to suspend him.
Yeah.
Because if they're concerned that what's fining him going to do? I mean, I agree with you. If that's what they did to Harden or whatever, keep it the same across the playing field. But if you have something in place because you're concerned of giving COVID off. Finding them isn't doing anything.
So this is where this went.
Sit out or something, or I don't know. Are they still testing them every game?
Oh yeah.
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 Okay.
Even with them all vaccinated, like they still have to prove that they don't have COVID, that they're not carrying it. Because with them being vaccinated, they're not going to get sick as much now, or it's not going to be as good of a chance. So where this went global was they asked Charles Barkley on a radio show this week, what do you think about all this? So basically LeBron James, he got passed off like, he got a pass as to where James Harden got fined $50,000. What do you think about this? And would they ever suspend LeBron James for something like this? And he said, straight up, the NBA hasn't got the balls to suspend LeBron James. And to a certain degree, why points like this are appropriate is because the NBA makes stuff like this happen. So obviously he's not going to get fined for this. It looks like he's getting a pass. Love or hate it. I mean, if you're going to treat it one way, you have to treat it the other.
Yeah. I think if it's a fine, I say give him the fine.
Yeah.
Set the precedent that
what's 50 to him?
Look, we have this implemented for a reason. If you break protocol, it's $50,000 fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him suspending him. And I honestly don't think they would have done it to Jordan either. I think if this was back in Jordan's era,
no,
they wouldn't have suspended.
Hell no.
That's your moneymaker. They have a big voice in the league. That they're going to speak out.
Mm-hmm.
And if they try and suspend LeBron, he's going to blast it everywhere. He's going to freaking stage a walkout or a sit down or something. And they ain't going to do it. He has too much control and he has too much power within that league. And to an extent, he's earned it. I mean, not that he earns a pass, but the precedent that he brings to the game and his stats and his talent, that's what happens. Barkley, on the other hand, I feel like he just hates on everyone. He just turned into like a bitter old man now that he ain't playing anymore, and he just calls everyone out on everything.
Barkley, specifically LeBron. Yes. I think he's kind of fair on everybody else, but he specifically always calls out LeBron.
Yes, he's a hater.
I guess to me, the third man in rotation is the question. So whoever is the next guy that does it, because if I'm an NBA player in the playoffs right now, say I'm playing for the Brooklyn Nets, and I go, man, I want to go out and meet with Ryan, my friend Ryan, and we're going to go to a bar and hang, whatever.
Right.
I'm fucking going.
Right.
Because if they find me and they didn't find LeBron James, man, we're going to make this go as public as possible.
Has Harden come out and said anything?
No, not that I know of.
I was curious if he come out and be like, I want my fucking $50,000 back.
It's legit though. I mean, I looked it up. I remember that happening.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think he could come out and be like, look, you're either paying me my $50,000 back or you need to find LeBron. Oh, unless at the time maybe they probably weren't vaccinated back then.
I think that's probably the conundrum.
Only thing that they're gonna fight it on.
The problem with that though is like I said, LeBron can still be a carrier for it, as to where I can too. Like I can pass it off on to people who aren't vaccinated for sure. So it's still a risk, no matter how much you want to acknowledge it or not. But
yeah, I get that.
So on the second part of your pitch here, you talked about how he was flopping and all that.
Yeah.
So
did you watch the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's totally flopping. But here's the thing. I'm not mad at him because every superstar flops. Jordan flopped like a motherfucker. Every superstar flops. And it's just a way to get to the line faster. The only thing that pisses me off, I know he does this on purpose, he draws it out for so long. Yeah. You've already gotten the foul. Just stand up and just take the line. No, everybody knows you're not hurt.
He's got to sell it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch. I just saw the headline about something about there was really bad fouls on Braun and it was a big deal or something like that. I don't know.
It was a sloppily officiated game.
Was it?
Yeah. And I kind of think to a degree on both ends. I think the Suns got it worse, but I think both ends, like there was a couple of technicals dished out in the third quarter, mainly the scrum that you're talking about, which involved 4 players.
That's what I saw. Yeah.
So our guard Cameron Johnson got suspended, like he got taken out of the game. They threw him out, and then Montrezl Harrell, which is their guard, he just got a technical foul put on him, but he's the one who threw the punch in the first place.
Okay.
So I never
understand half the shit that they call these plays, or I don't know. It's silly. These refs don't know what the hell they're doing, man.
Yeah. But it was a good game though.
Yeah. So LeBron, so it's a 7-game series.
Yeah.
So they're 1 game in at this point.
Yeah. Game 2's tomorrow night in Phoenix again.
You think Phoenix takes them?
My prediction initially was that the Lakers were going to win in 6, and I'm still sticking to it because I actually picked the Suns to win game 1.
Okay.
So I'm right now.
Okay.
I think the Lakers come back strong tomorrow, and I actually think the Lakers dominate them tomorrow.
Okay.
Probably look for about 12 points.
Got it. Yeah. What's up with Golden State? They got beat by
Memphis. Yeah.
So then what? They're out?
Yeah. Golden State's done.
Oh, they're done.
Their season's
double elimination.
Yep. Yep. Their season's
Fucking
done.
Curry. Bye-bye.
And then Memphis goes on last night and beats the number 1 team in the NBA, Utah. So they're up 1-0.
Dude, they're making a run for it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Because Golden State lost to the Lakers, and then they lost to Memphis. So they're out. That's fantastic.
Yeah, Lakers became the 7 seed, so they face us.
Bye-bye, Curry.
Yeah.
Cool. Other thing that I had for sports. Sorry, we didn't have Jesse to give a sports topic, so I did my best.
Right, his coattails.
So I was searching for things to talk about, and I have 2 things, one for sports and then one for Let's Get Social, that are like the top 25 things. So this one is the top 25 moves made in the NFL 2021 offseason. So I'm going to read through them and then see what you think as far as your thoughts on these. You know sports way more than me, so I'm going to let you mainly do the breakdown. But coming in at number 25 is Jacksonville Jaguars draft quarterback Trevor Lawrence first overall. Good move.
Yeah, great move. I mean, you have no other option. Their hole at quarterback was Gardner Minshew, who, was a great flash in the pan story for about 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then when they really needed him to throw and put some numbers up, they found out this kid is just another mediocre quarterback. Yeah, QB was the only way they could have went. Cool. It's not going to fix their problems single-handedly.
Yeah.
But it's on the right track.
Cool. So that's our number 25. We've got number 24 is Jesse's own Cleveland Browns re-sign wide receiver Rashard Higgins.
Yeah, good move.
Good move.
Yeah, I think it's a great move because Higgins, he's starting to get more appreciation with Browns diehards. So they're seeing the big contracts like Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, who are arguably one of them is going to leave town probably after this season.
Absolutely.
You're going to depend more on a proven commodity like Higgins. And I think Higgins, he's got the legs, the speed, and he's for the most part consistent with his grabs.
Cool.
Yeah.
23 is Los Angeles Chargers signed guard Matt Feeler.
I don't know much about him, honestly, but they have a lot of trouble when it comes to defense. So I think any move on defense is a good position for them.
Good deal. Another one for Los Angeles Chargers, number 22 is their signing of tight end Jared Cook.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Cook, and he's still got some fire in him. He's a veteran, but still very crafty and still has a great mind. He reminds me a lot of Jason Witten when he played for the Cowboys.
Okay.
Yeah.
They signed him, I guess, in place of Hunter Henry, who they lost.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I forgot about that. Big blow.
21 is Arizona Cardinals, and they acquire C. Rodney Hudson from the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I like this move too. And I think this is part of the revamping of the Arizona Cardinals, who I think is going to win the division this year.
Okay.
I said Arizona was my pick for out of nowhere. Them and the Dolphins, I think, are going to be the 2 teams that come out of nowhere this year.
Dolphins, I like it.
And, a lot of people don't believe in Kyler Murray, but I think with a defense in hand, he's going to be able to offer up a little bit more freedom. He's not going to have to throw it 60 times a game.
Cool. Another trade coming off of the Raiders was number 20, and the Seattle Seahawks acquire G. Gabe Jackson.
I heard about this, but honestly, so Seahawks are acquired, right? They acquired him.
Yep, they got him from the Raiders. Yeah.
Okay, so with Seattle's scheme, I heard that they're switching schemes though this year, so I don't know how well he fits into the new scheme that they're establishing. I guess time will tell. The thing with Seattle is they're kind of right on the cusp anyway. Like they won the division last year, but they actually seem to be trending down because there was a lot of doubt that Russell Wilson wouldn't come back.
Okay, I guess in picking him up it says something to do with Russell Wilson complaining about getting hit too much, so they picked up another guard and trying to get the line stronger for him.
Yeah, and then that was part of the reason why he wanted to leave in the first place, because he felt like he wasn't getting the kind of protection
Support
that he needed.
Yeah.
19
comes in with Kansas City Chiefs acquire cornerback Mike Hughes from the Minnesota Vikings.
I think there was better names out there, honestly. And Kansas City, man, they're just trying anything to help this defense right now, because this is their obvious weakness coming into the next season. Like Tampa Bay exploited them. I was going to say New England. Tampa Bay exploited them.
Yeah.
And now it seems like every team, including Cleveland, is going to have a blueprint for how to beat them.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good move, but at the same time, I think there were better names still available for that position.
Okay. Number 18 is the Detroit Lions. Their acquisition of quarterback Jared Goff from the Rams for quarterback Matthew Stafford.
So we debated this one, Jesse and I, when this deal happened about a month and a half ago, and we were talking about who got the better end of that deal.
Yep.
We both agreed that we thought the Rams got the better deal.
Yep.
Even though, to get rid of Stafford's contract is nice. It frees up some money for Detroit.
Cap space.
Yeah. I think Detroit right now is just kind of going through the motion. I think they're a team that has the ability to win maybe 8 games. I know one of our listeners is probably going to be pissed at that statement, but they have the ability to win 8 games, but I don't think they have the ability to win much more.
Yeah.
And I don't think Goff's going to help them in that regard.
It's a $15 million difference.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean,
frees up some space.
It helps,
sure.
You could get a veteran for that kind of money at any other position. They still need help at the corners. As silly as it sounds, they need some wide receiver help too. They need to get some weapons for Goff out there.
He's got to have something to go to.
Yeah.
Otherwise he's going to bomb. So number 17 is Indianapolis Colts and their acquisition of quarterback Carson Wentz from the Eagles.
Yeah, I think Wentz is just looking for a redemption story. I think he would have went with any team that showed interest in him. And I can't be mad at him. Obviously, like the Eagles basically shunned him.
Yeah.
I've never been a big Wentz supporter, but I feel like this is a great place for him, especially in Frank Reich's system. Those two came through the wire together in Philadelphia, and now he's coaching his boy again. I think it's a good fit for Indianapolis and in a division that's wide open
for sure. This one I thought was pretty big. Number 16 is the New England Patriots trade up to draft defensive lineman Christian Barmore.
Yeah.
I think that Belichick is really trying to build that team to show one last hurrah that he wasn't riding Tom Brady's coattails, and he can win and build a winning team without Brady. What do you think about that move?
So there's a lot I want to talk about in this section. First of all, I feel like everything that happened last year, you can throw out the window.
Yeah.
Those were still basically a lot of holdovers from the former Brady era.
Of course.
So the way I look at it is Belichick used last year as a way to strip everything clean.
Wash.
And now he's going to build it from start, and nobody does that better than Bill.
Yeah.
And in that regard, I feel like this is not only a terrific pickup, but I feel it's one that's going to be one of those pivotal groundbreakers toward the end of the season.
Yeah.
I picked the Patriots to be back in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I think they're going to be one of those like 6 or 7 seeds.
I can see that. I think they're playoff worthy.
And I think they're going to get Julio Jones too.
Oh,
yeah, that's my pick. So there's a lot of rumors going on right now about either the Patriots or Cowboys are going to get him.
Okay.
Why I don't think it's going to be Dallas is 1, we can't afford him. 2, we don't really need him. We have one of the best receiving corps in football already. And 3, I just feel like that's such a perfect fit in New England. Belichick loves a good redemption story.
Yeah.
And Julio, who's not exactly a troubled mind or anything, but he is someone looking for another chance. And boy, Bill loves those kind of stories.
Yeah. Yeah. He needs something. He needs something just to show. And he doesn't need to prove anything. I mean, the dude has proven himself. Yeah. But Brady's out. It's like, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do with your team?
Well, and getting that the Bama quarterback that they got, I'm like, that's interesting. He's putting all his eggs in that hat, which I don't think can be worse than Cam Newton.
Right.
So
no. 15 is in representation of the GOAT, Tom Brady, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're re-signing of Shaquille Barrett.
Great.
They re-signed everyone on their line, offensive and defensive, which is pretty impressive. He was the last piece in that to get them back and hopefully rerun it.
So what a credit to the GM, because, with championship teams, the first thing you always talk about in the next season is that, okay, who are we losing along the way?
Yep.
So in other sports, we know like the Florida Marlins were a big disaster after the 1997 World Series. We've seen, in basketball, I think it was the Milwaukee Bucks went all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals in 2000, and then they stripped all of the pieces clean.
Yeah.
Especially in football, this is impressive to keep everybody, but it's a testament to the system, and it's a testament that they believe they can win again.
Yeah.
And honestly, with everybody coming back, as you mentioned, they're certainly in the driver's seat. I don't see right now who could stop them.
Yeah. They have a really good chance of rerunning it. I mean, you came off a great season. You got your pieces all there still. Why not? Why not make it happen? There's other teams are gonna have to have a lot of building still. So 14 is another Raiders. They're in a lot of these top 25s. Las Vegas Raiders sign Yannick Nagu from the Baltimore Ravens.
I think it's Nagao,
maybe.
I believe that's how it's pronounced. Yeah, boy, all these moves. They have an active offseason going on because they have to fill that new beautiful stadium that didn't even get put through 1% use last year.
Jeez.
So yeah, for the Raiders, this is a big year. They're going to come out and they're going to market this team, and they're trying to make all these signature moves, which, like the one you just mentioned, is going to take them back to the old days of good defense, gritty. Running, right down the throats of their opposition. And I think the Raiders are a couple of years away from being a contender, but I think this is certainly the right move. They need a quarterback, though.
Yeah. They were a big name back in the day. I mean, I used to be an Oakland Raiders fan.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't done much in a long time, but see if they've got pieces coming together for it.
For sure.
13 is the Ravens drafting wide receiver Rashad Bateman.
Oh, I didn't hear about this one.
Yeah, he went 27th overall.
God.
So we'll see if he produces anything out there. Maybe he'll catch something from the awful throwing Lamar Jackson.
I'm going to do Jesse, our missing partner. I'm going to do him a favor here. What worries me about this move is that, obviously Lamar hasn't really proven the arm as much as he's proven the leg right now.
Yep. So what's the point?
And I look at a receiver like Bateman is kind of on the end of his, potential.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think it's the best move to compete any stronger, but I think the Ravens right now are the favorite in that division. So it's kind of like anything goes through Baltimore right now.
More so than the Browns, huh?
I think so. Yeah.
Heard it here first, Jesse.
Yep.
Number 12 is Chicago Bears trade up to draft quarterback Justin Fields.
Yeah. What might possibly be the steal of the draft.
Right.
How far that kid fell. They were projecting him as high as 3.
I know.
And, so I thought in San Francisco, it was a perfect fit.
Yep.
I'm like, if the Niners get him, the Niners are going to match Tampa Bay next year.
I couldn't believe it was 11th. I thought he was going. There were so many times I'm like, yep, they're taking him.
Yeah.
And then they just pass.
Yeah. It's so my thing with Chicago is, it more worries me for him than it does for them.
Yeah.
So I see Fields' numbers are going to be terrific. Like I think he's going to play his heart out for that team. However, it's the pieces around him that really raise doubts.
Yeah.
He has no receiving core. His running is solid enough, but at the same time, Fields is a throwing quarterback. He wants to prove his arm. And I just think for right now, there's no way that team's going to turn around instantly. But I think Fields there, he's going to be out to make them a winner. And he's got one of those attitudes that it's like everywhere he goes, he tries to make them better. He made Ohio State better for all of the different reasons than they're used to. Like they were a running team when he went there, and then he made them into a passing team. So it could be the same with Chicago.
That's fair enough.
Yep.
11 and 10 are both Cleveland Browns won. So number 11 is the signing of safety John Johnson.
Great move. Yeah.
Which they definitely needed defensive linemen. So I think that's a good move for them. And then they got cornerback Troy Hill.
Yeah. Jesse knows more about Troy Hill than I do. I remember when we were going into the draft, we were talking about him a little bit, and I don't know honestly a lot about the kid, but I feel like any kind of defensive help for them, that's obviously the glaring weakness with Cleveland. And, with Grant Delpit, who was on the bench, or not on the bench, he was injured this year. I think there's a lot of factors there that there's going to be a lot of hungry athletes playing for those jobs, and it can only result to, competitive football for the Browns.
For sure.
I think the Browns defense will be better this year. Do I think it's going to be amazing and one of the top 5? Absolutely not. But I think their offense will carry them enough to, what did I originally pick? I think I picked 11 wins.
I'm trying to see. I don't know for sure. They're both Rams. I wonder if they got it in a package trade, because they took both those players from the Rams. So I don't know what they did to acquire them. But here's my thing. And I always think about this in any sport, not just football, but if I got traded from the Los Angeles Rams to come to the Cleveland Browns, I'm pissed. Not because it's the Cleveland Browns. I mean, yes, because it's Cleveland Browns, but more so because I'm going from Los Angeles to Cleveland, Ohio.
You're looking at a cultural emphasis.
Oh my God. I'm like, fuck.
They got winner there, man. Come on.
Bro, that's just got to be awful. Like, what a just culture shock.
It's tough too, because, those two teams 2 years ago, they played on Monday Night Football. So like during that year, the Browns weren't good. They had a lot of promise, but they didn't pull through.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe those guys are more inspired now after they had the one good year that they had. I'm rooting for the Browns. I hope they do well. I just think this year expectations. So people will look at the schedule and they'll go, oh, 14 wins, 13, 14 wins because they had whatever, 11 or 12 wins last year.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is you have to look at, so their schedule is going to be tougher. It always is. Teams are different every year.
Yep.
There's always those 1 or 2 games you lose that you have no business losing whatsoever.
Yep.
So they're going to lose to like a Bengals or
I'm saying 10-7.
One of these random teams. You said 10. So I said 11-6 when I was looking at their schedule.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think they have a decent season. I think their playoff, they have the opportunity for the playoffs again,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't foresee them coming in the league and dominating and having like a 14-3 season or anything like that.
I think it's going to be the same season. They're going to be in the second round and they're going to lose.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which, I mean, if the Browns make playoffs 2 years in a row, I mean, good for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
That in itself is a miracle.
Yeah, for sure. So, number 9 is Cincinnati Bengals, and they signed cornerback Mike Hilton.
Yeah.
He was Steelers, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, so you want to talk about, drop downs, man. This guy went from Pittsburgh, the Steel Curtain,
Yeah.
and now he's part of the Bengals who you can say they have promise, but I don't think they're anywhere close to where they need to be.
Yeah.
I still think they're going to be in the cellar. A lot of people are staying Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh still has some weapons to compete
Yeah.
to where they can get 7 or 8 wins.
Absolutely. Number 8's another Cincinnati Bengals trade, and that's them taking one of your favorites from the Cowboys, Chidobe Awuzie.
Oh, I know. Cheeto, man. We were sad about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wish, does that say the specifics of the deal, like in terms of the money?
Let's see. Finding out they lost Washington football team. They got him for half. They got him at $7.3 million per year.
Yeah, we didn't have. I think the top deal that we were willing to pay him was 6.5.
He's 29. Yeah.
Yeah, we let him go. And what's sad about that is Cheeto was one of the few bright spots on our defense too. I feel like he's a guy that really earned that job, and we kind of passed him over. But we were looking at, we're looking at fresh corners. We drafted 3 new ones in the draft. We got a safety.
Yeah.
I think it was just honestly our way of saying, look, we're throwing out last year in the same way that we were talking about Belichick earlier.
Yeah.
We're scrapping everything. We're starting from scratch again.
I mean, if I'm him, I'm pissed just because I'm like, y'all just freaking slapped me in the face. You sent me to the Bengals.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that's where you're sending me.
And I feel like he earned a job last year because, like I said, it was a miserable season. But in the same instance, we were kept in a lot of those games because of the defensive play from like players like Cheeto.
For sure.
Yeah.
Number 7 is from the Los Angeles Chargers in their draft of Rashawn Slater.
Oh God.
Don't know much about him. He's offensive lineman.
I forgot about this one.
Offensive tackle. 6 is Miami Dolphins, and they signed wide receiver Will Fuller.
This one I love. Yeah. So this one, this is what I said about the Dolphins this year. I'm going to be the team that rides their coattails because to me, I think the Dolphins are going to win the division. They're going to steal it from the Bills this year. And I feel like the Dolphins will go to, I'll say, the second round.
Okay.
I don't like AFC Championship yet because I think of the Chiefs and Ravens, and the Browns are like third right there.
Yeah.
I don't think the Dolphins are better than any of those 3 teams, but I think the Dolphins are good enough to surprise people and steal 11 wins this year.
I like it. I like the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I've been a fan. Number 5 is from the one and only Cowboys and their trade of linebacker Micah Parsons.
Yeah, dude.
Like it.
One of 2 picks that I really wanted in this draft so badly. And the first one fell through to Denver, and which was the Alabama kid. I'm drawing a blank right now. Cornerback from Alabama. But yeah, he went to Denver 3 picks prior. And then we trade with Philly, which was ridiculous. Philly moved up 1 spot on us because they wanted to go after and get their wide receiver. Fine enough. But then we got Micah Parsons. He still fell to us nonetheless. This kid is a monster.
Yeah.
And he's got the ability. Now, when we talk about Myles Garrett and how good he is, he has that ability to reach Myles Garrett status.
Wow.
And I'm not bullshitting at all. Like I've seen this kid's best games. I've seen his worst games at Penn State. This kid, nothing but heart and intensity for days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. That's a good pickup for you guys.
I love it.
Let's see. Number 4 is coming in from the Carolina Panthers and their sign of Hassan Reddick.
What position?
Edge tackle. Tackle, right?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
could be good. I don't know.
He was drafted in 2017, 13th.
Okay.
Overall pick. So I don't know if he produced much, but
I know Carolina's got some rough days ahead for sure.
Yeah. Number 3 is the Cleveland Browns again. They traded up to draft linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koroma.
Yeah, man.
Koroma.
So this is the other steal of the draft, along with Justin Fields.
Big
How
one.
the hell did this kid fall to? I think it was 30.
Dude, he got.
Was it 38?
They had him. Yeah, it doesn't say on here. I don't think
30 something.
Yeah, it was up there for sure.
How the hell did he fall this far?
It was in round 2.
All 32 teams passed on this kid. And
I thought he was I mean, I was watching it and I was like, how are people passing this dude up?
Yeah.
There was plenty of teams he would have been a good fit for. And I was like, second round?
I wanted him on us. Yeah. Like that was my thing. I'm like, so this is the time where if he's going to fall to the second round, the Cowboys need to trade up to early second round. You won't have to give up much to get to that point and just steal this kid away.
Yeah, they had him initially listed as the second best defensive player in the entire class.
I believe it.
And he was supposed to go no less than top 20.
As an Irish fan, I watched this kid mature all year, and I believe he's a junior. He was a junior who went to the NFL, and he played like a senior. I mean, totally. And he's light on his feet, which is surprising for a kid that his size.
Yeah, it's a big pickup for the Browns. I mean, that was huge for them.
I honestly think there's a lot of debate on that, but I think that's the pick that's going to come back from this year, and that's going to be the one that's like, we did right on that one.
Absolutely. Coming in at number 2 is a trade for the Minnesota Vikings, and they got Christian Darrisaw.
Yeah,
offensive tackle.
Yeah, great pick. Yeah, and I think with Minnesota, he's got an ability to fit into that 4-3 scheme. And I feel like it's going to bring out the best in him. He came from Houston.
He came from. Let's see.
God, I wish
collected New York Jets. I don't know.
I wish I'd looked at this beforehand.
Yeah, it doesn't say all the full details in the like numbers. It just gives you basic overlay.
He was a Texan, but I could be wrong on that. But yeah, I think in Minnesota he's got a lot of potential there to fit into that system, especially because they're 4-3. I know that always favors the top heavy runners like himself. And yeah, I think it's a possibility for Minnesota to get back. They
collected 2 third-round picks from the New York Jets.
Okay.
And then they selected him in the number 23 spot.
Oh, so he's draft. Okay.
Yep.
Maybe he's not the guy I'm thinking then.
Yeah, they traded down and then drafted him.
Okay. I can't say then.
Yeah, and then the last one is for the Chiefs and their acquisition of Orlando Brown from the Ravens. That comes in at number 1 at pickup for the 2021 draft.
It's kind of surprising the Ravens just kind of let him go. Yeah. I've heard that he didn't want to re-sign there though, but the Chiefs is a good landing spot for him. I think still the favorite in the AFC, regardless of what happened in that Super Bowl.
They traded a first-round pick and some other stuff for him too. They went for him.
I mean, I think you look at it as, so the Chiefs, if they use their first-round pick, they're going to use it on a defensive player, obviously,
right?
Because that's the only place they need help. They don't need anything on offense,
right?
So I think to them it was an easy bargain. They go, yeah, we need him and he needs us, and
for sure,
we're willing to help each other out on that.
You help me out, I help you. You scratch my back, I scratch your back.
Yep. Funny thing about my back.
Hey-o. That's all I really got for sports. I don't know if anything else really happened. I mean, we're in NBA playoff time. PGA Tour or whatever was this weekend.
Yeah, Phil Mickelson at 53 won the PGA Championship.
That's a pretty big deal.
He's the oldest player in PGA history to ever win a major.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. In coming up news, the McGregor 3 fight is coming up in a week or two. Is that this Saturday? I think that might be this coming Saturday. God,
is it that quick?
McGregor Poirier 3. Yeah. So that will be coming up. Floyd Mayweather fight should be coming up here sometime in June, I think.
You think Conor redeems himself?
I hope he does. Yeah. I'm a big Conor fan. They're 1-1 right now. I think for Conor's sake, he needs this win.
Yeah,
he's come off of a couple bad losses where like he probably should have won. I think the thing with him at this point in his career is that he's done so well and achieved pretty much everything he can. I don't know if he's just not as aggressive as he was. He doesn't have the hunger that he used to have where he was, I'm going to go in there and just terrorize people. So I think he's doing it because he takes a fight or two a year, makes a couple million, and then goes off and he has his other businesses. He's got a family now. So I don't know. I think Poirier has more to prove by winning again than Conor, so
if he beats him 2 out of 3, he's the only guy who's ever done that.
Right.
Poirier, he certainly looked more impressive his last 4 fights for sure. It's funny because when this kid first came into the league, like a lot of people saw that potential, but on the same end, like he was losing fights he rightfully shouldn't have, and on the ground too, of all things, which is strange for him.
Yep.
So then he comes in and he redeems himself, and then he goes in and gets the Conor fight, wins that. It's amazing. I honestly think Conor needs the win more.
He does.
To me, like, if Conor loses again, you can say, oh yeah, he's in it for the money and all that. And that's true. 100% true.
Yeah.
But on the same thing is, like, if you keep fighting past your prime and you lose fights, that's damaging to your
reputation.
Yeah. So like if Tom Brady is going to the Super Bowl every year and he lost the last 3 or 4 Super Bowls he was in, there would be an argument for, is he the greatest of all time?
Yeah. You if you're Conor and you could have went out, well, I don't know the number, but he's 25-1, we'll say.
Yeah.
And then he comes back for the money and he keeps losing. And now you're going down 25-6, 25-7, 25-8. Your record, that's permanent.
Yeah.
That's there. That's the legacy you're leaving behind as a fighter. So no one to throw it in or fully commit. I don't think he's fully committed anymore. I think Poirier is way more active in fighting than Conor is at this point.
And he's more conditioned too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's got to make that decision of, am I going to ride out my name and my legacy, and I know I can just pick up fights whenever I want?
Yeah.
Or am I going to commit to being a fighter again? And I love him. He's my favorite fighter. I would love to see him do good and win again. There's just something about that attitude of his that I love. And he's become way more humble now, I think, than he was.
Yeah.
But there's something about him I just enjoy. I love his gorilla $1 billion man walk and everything.
Oh, yeah.
He's such an asshole, but I love it.
He is I would say him and Michael Bisping are the 2 greatest shit talkers in UFC history.
I love it. I love a good shit talk. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And the thing is with Conor, like, I feel like there's some desire to still be in the UFC to fight there, because to him, he's in control of his own contract. He could tell Dana White to go fuck himself tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Okay. And here's the thing. If he wanted to make just whatever, a $10 million payday or $50 million payday, he go find one of those brothers with
Pauls,
your boys.
Logan, Jake
the Pauls. He go find one of them. He go, hey, let's fight. And he'll knock their ass out for $50 million or whatever.
Absolutely.
He'll earn it. No problem. Because when they say Conor McGregor in lights, that thing is getting bought till the end of the world.
Yep.
The man can draw regardless of how old he would be.
Yep.
So yeah, I feel like there's some desire to still compete and to see how he is against the best in the world.
Yeah.
So Poirier right now is easily a top 5 in that division.
Absolutely.
And if he can get a win over Poirier, he proves to himself that he can still compete.
He still
amongst the
contend.
best. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would absolutely like to see him come back and win. I think right now, I feel like he's on that same downward spiral that Rousey had.
Yeah.
Where she was at the top of her game.
She ran into
She
Amanda
kept taking
Nunes.
fights, and then she lost it. And I think she just kind of at that point, she was like, look, she called the quit. She knew, like, hey, I'm on the downside of this. I don't want to keep racking up these losses. I'm going to walk away.
There is nobody beating Amanda Nunes.
No, she's a monster.
Nobody.
Yeah. I was a big Rousey fan. I was bummed to see her. It's always hard for me when you see someone that is great. She was great in her time. But it's always hard for me when you see that person that's at their prime there, and then they lose, and they realize, like, shit, I can lose. Like, I'm not. There's people that can compete with me.
You're human.
I think that kind of it's very humbling.
Yeah.
And it was hard to watch when she got knocked the fuck out.
Well,
so
the thing is, with being the champion comes vulnerability, because now you have the biggest target on your back, and the rest of the league is now against you.
Yep, absolutely. So, but yeah, that's all really for right now for sports. Hopefully Jesse will be back with us next week, and we can follow up on anything new and exciting that we have from there.
You know what next week is?
Next week, I don't.
Memorial Day.
Oh, it is. Memorial Day is next week. I don't know what we'll figure something out. Whether I don't know if we'll be recording on Monday like we normally do, or a different day, but if we don't talk to you, happy Memorial Day.
He's gonna be celebrating his mom's birthday.
He's a fucking guy. We're gonna go ahead and transfer over to Let's Get Social and finish out the show with you guys there. Sweet.
It is July 20th, 1969, and man is about to land on the moon.
Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
That's the way the news news goes.
Something that's not on my list that I just thought about when I heard that soundbite is I saw a tweet today, and it was from Chelsea Clinton, I believe.
Oh man.
And it was something along the lines of It was something along the lines of someone shouldn't be running for office or something because they had it was about Bill Gates, and she said something along the lines of how deplorable for you to have an inner office sexual relationship with someone. And I'm like, this isn't really the fight you want to choose to battle, because your father was getting blown in the Oval Office.
Nobody's told her.
I was like, honey, this is not the tweet that you want to be sending out.
Yeah, I can imagine if you look at the comments of that article, they were probably infinite.
It scrolled. It was one of those things that, like when you're on your Facebook or something and you really want to read something and it refreshes, and you can never find it.
Yeah,
it's what happened. I had just opened Twitter and it was the very top thing, and then my feed refreshed, and I just didn't take the time to go back and find it. But I saw the headline and I was like, Chelsea, this isn't the place for you, girl. Just have a seat. You're embarrassing your dad right now. He doesn't need anybody to be reminded of his indecencies in the Oval Office while Monica was.
He doesn't need anybody to embarrass him. He does a good enough job.
I liked Bill.
I
liked Bill, man.
As far as presidents from when I was born, 85.
Yeah, he was one of my favorites.
I would say Clinton is probably second best we've probably ever had.
I had Barack and then Clinton.
Yeah,
those are probably my top two.
And people are going to be pissed at that, and I'm sure they'll make up some excuse. Or there was this and this and this, and I'm like, look.
Him getting blown in the Oval Office did not affect him doing his job.
Yeah,
not saying it was right. He was married and whatever that, but it did not affect him as president.
Yeah.
All I'm concerned as the president is, are you doing your job? Are you doing what's best for the country? And I thought that he, as a president, did a pretty dang good job. And I liked him. And then I liked, I think Obama's been one of my favorites.
I think Obama's been the best since I've been alive. And I'm not even like an avid Obama fan, but like he's been the best one since.
Something I really enjoyed about Obama was watching him speak.
Yeah.
He was so charismatic. He carried himself very well. He was always very professional and well spoken.
The best in that regard.
Yeah, he was top notch when it came to representation of a president of the United States.
Yeah.
He's not someone that I ever felt embarrassed by representation of our country. You know, he carried himself very well, and I always really respected that. I remember when he won his first election, and staying up that night and watching it unfold and his speech and everything, and just it felt good. Like it just felt very I don't know. There was something about it that I really enjoyed.
The Yes We Can speech and all that, the chant, and is very inspiring for 2008.
Yeah.
Especially coming off of 8 years with Bush and how the economy was in the toilet at that point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just seemed like he really did a good job of bringing the country together. I know everyone didn't vote for him. Obviously, there's a lot of people that probably didn't like him and still don't.
I did the first time.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked him. So anyways, I saw that tweet. It wasn't on my list, but I heard the soundbite and it reminded me. But what I do have for Let's Get Social is a couple of things. First off is a school in Florida, a high school in Florida is preparing their year, and they're preparing their yearbooks for the end of this school year. And they altered or doctored, photoshopped 80 plus yearbook photos of the female students.
I saw that.
And without consent, without telling them beforehand, they just did it and published them. And faculty, family, parents, students are in an uproar over it. They some of them look real bad. They try to like doctor their clothing, or like if they had cleavage showing, it's just literally like a straight bar across. Like they look bad. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that the school should have two parts? Do you think the school has the right to just do it? And two, should they have instead maybe just said, hey, these are inappropriate, why don't you reshoot them or something, rather than that's what's in the yearbook. That's what's going to be there for everyone to see permanently for the rest of those kids' lives. It's a yearbook. It's not like it's that big of a deal, but what are your thoughts on the school just doing that on their own basis rather than addressing it and maybe giving the students the opportunity to wear something different? I'm pretty sure yearbook photos are done in studio. Why wasn't it told? I remember at my school, we had a yearbook day. We had a picture day, and you'd get called to the cafeteria and they took your picture.
Well, yeah,
so there's someone should have been there to say, hey, pull your shirt up, or hey, you need to put something on over that.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't have got to that point.
Obviously, except if you're a senior, because senior portraits get added into, they get edited in later.
And I don't think, based on the pictures I saw, I think this was like maybe sophomore, junior, or something like that, because it wasn't like senior picture style.
So I can answer the first part of your question easily. No, it is not appropriate.
Yeah.
For any measure. The second part of your question, maybe I missed this. Like, what was the reason for all of this? Like, what was the motivation?
It was a inappropriate outfits. Like, the girls like had cleavage showing, and they it was something that they were basically voicing was like inappropriate attire.
So the school basically said, let's figure out the best way we can to cover these up.
Yeah.
Even if it's not literally the best way.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I kind of side with your answer in terms of, so that's kind of on the photographer or the photography day, like to say like, look, if you want this done and you don't want women to show their cleavage and all that, then have the principal stand right next to the photographer when this is going on.
Yeah.
They can look at each outfit, and if they say cover up or whatever, have them go cover up.
Right.
Yeah, this to me, it's very inappropriate. And I feel like
part of it to me is like, I feel like they're sending the wrong message, because I looked at some of these and it wasn't like skimpy, scandalous pictures. Like the one was a girl wearing like a cami, like a under type shirt, and then like a cardigan over it. And like, you could see like an inch or two of like the crease between her boobs.
Yeah.
It wasn't nipple showing. It wasn't a low cut shirt.
Just where it starts.
She was just endowed.
Yeah.
And she had cleavage. So what, she supposed to wear a turtleneck?
Yeah.
Like,
Is this a Catholic school?
No.
Yeah.
I just, it seems silly to me.
I don't agree with this. Yeah. And to me, you can get into a lot of trouble, because a lot of parents, like, when it comes to memories about their children and stuff like that, they like it to be, untouched as possible. So if they want to go back 10 years from now and they want to look through those pages and all that, they can look at it with pride and with honor.
Yeah.
Not looking at something they know is obviously doctored.
And they looked bad.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these pictures look bad.
Yeah.
So it's disrespectful to me.
I saw one though, I could have swore I saw one with the face though. So I'm wondering what the negative is there.
Oh, I didn't see that. Did they?
There was one with the face. So they added like a girl. I thought like her eyes, they changed something about her eyes or something.
Dude, I need to know now. See, I didn't read too much of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it says Florida high school alters 80 immodest yearbook photos of students.
Anything they thought was risky or whatever.
Yeah.
What's risky about your face?
So what their people are saying, one of the quotes was, the double standard in the yearbook is more so that they looked at our body and thought just a little bit of skin showing was sexual, but then they looked at the boys for the swim team photos and other sports photos and thought that was fine. And that's really upsetting and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You have swim photos where it's guys just in Speedos,
mm-hmm.
and that's perfectly okay. But if the female had a little bit of cleavage showing, that was not acceptable.
I think it's unnecessarily sexualizing children again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, I don't mean to play that tune over and over again, but, I feel like you're bringing attention to something that doesn't have attention to it already to begin with. So by you doctoring this, so obviously the first question is going to be what I asked you is, so what's the motivation for this? Why would you change it in the first place?
Right. So, like you mentioned about the faces, I think they just blurred them out, is what you probably saw,
mm-hmm.
to protect their identity.
Okay.
But there are several different ones that are altered, and
you see them though, like the face ones.
That's
the one. Yeah, that's the one I saw. Yeah.
So that's not even that. That's just because they're protecting her, not they're
her
making
anonymity.
Yeah, but that's one. So like where the cleavage is, that's the before. But this is a picture where they altered it.
See, that's not, I wouldn't look at that. And
I think that's inappropriate.
That wouldn't be the first, I wouldn't think sexualization or anything on that matter until you brought it to my attention.
Right.
Now I'm thinking about it, inevitably.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it could have just been handled better. Give the students the opportunity to rehab the photo shoot, or make sure the standards are clear. We have to stop sexualizing children. That's a big no-no.
Yeah.
But even women's bodies in general, like it's not our place to say, hey, you can't put that photo out. If that's what the girl felt comfortable taking a picture of, who is it to say because she's got boobs that we are going to say that's not appropriate to show?
Because what do we're
sexualizing them. We're making that inappropriate in our own mind when it shouldn't be that way. They took that picture. They felt okay and comfortable in that picture.
Mm-hmm.
She's not naked.
Yeah. Because what do we judge on next? Style. So if you have a goth girl that comes in there with piercings all over her face,
right,
and she's got maybe too much eyeshadow or colors on her face and all that, is that the next thing? Like, oh, we just don't take pride in that and all that, so you know we're gonna blur her out.
It's just I just don't know where we find the place to where we have the place to say that that's not and obviously within certain reasons. Like we're not going to put a picture of a girl like half naked in the yearbook, but
I think you said the right answer though.
Yeah, we have to stop sexualizing women's bodies. That's the way that we've been taught and brought up, and being sexually attracted to women, that's perfectly understandable, but that doesn't make it right that we are manipulating the way that they can be seen or should be seen for our own preference.
Well, because it casts emphasis on something that's not there to begin with. So like I said, like I can look at those photos if I'm looking through a buddy's yearbook or something. Right. I can look at those photos and just look at them without sexualizing them. Right. But now when you tell me that there's something, I see something funny on the picture or something, and I go, well, why is that there? And then you explain why it's there.
Yep.
Now it's sexualizing. Right. Now I can only see them for that.
Yep. Yeah. I know that's really
that's
stupid.
On the school. That's not on the kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an article I read that I thought was interesting. Another one which wasn't on there, but this conversation kind of leads me to want to discuss is the video I shared. Video I shared online, and so what this was, it was based around female women that work in sports, female commentators or female sports analysts. And I saw this video online, and if you guys are any of you are familiar with some of the talk show hosts do it, like Jimmy Fallon and stuff, and they'll have celebrities on and they make them read tweets that are bad tweets about them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and those are supposed to be funny.
Right.
This not so
this
much.
Was, they gathered up some of the most hurtful and hateful tweets and direct messages and things that were sent to some female sports figures. I don't know what the proper term is, but I'm an idiot.
Them female women,
those female women's, they pulled together some messages from these females. I don't know how they collected them, but regardless. And then they had some men that volunteered to read them to the women face to face, on camera. And it was really sad to see that these guys couldn't read them. Like the level of uncomfortability that they had to have to read these messages to these women.
It's good that it registers though.
Absolutely. And it's like, I think we have to understand there's two things to it. We have to understand the things that we say, the way that they register to someone when they read it. Mm-hmm. It's no different than you saying to them in person.
Absolutely.
And I think that was very clear in the way that this was registered. It's very easy for you to type something and send it off on the interwebs and never see the way that person receives that message. But when you saw these guys these weren't even things they said.
Yeah.
They volunteered to read these just to be a part of this experiment or whatever. And they didn't even say it, and they didn't want to read it.
I'd have trouble too.
And I'm watching these. I'm watching these guys. It's like a 5-minute video, and I just felt sick.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of them were awful.
Yeah, some of them are so perverted. Like, I mean, obviously, that a majority these are going to be like sexual or something like that with that kind of connotation. But like,
which is exactly why I tied into my last one about sexualizing women. It's not our right to do that. Like these are professionals, and whatever their job is, it's not for us to freaking be sending them lewd and inappropriate messages just because we feel that we have the right to do. We don't have the right to do that.
But this shit crossed the border of scary though too, man. This was like terrifying.
There was one. So for those that haven't seen the video, I'll a couple that I can remember to an extent. One was, I think she does sports commentating for hockey. And one of the messages was, I hope you get hit in the head with a hockey puck and die.
Yeah.
Who sends that to someone?
Yeah.
Another one which was very, very awful and trigger warning for some of these, but one, a lady had been raped by her ex-boyfriend, and the guy told her, the message that he sent her was, I hope your boyfriend beats you and rapes you again, or your ex-boyfriend beats you and rapes you again.
Jeez,
You are fucked up. But it's fucked up to ever send it to somebody.
It's that protective anonymity, though. So my thing is, when someone sends you that kind of thing, we need to find a way to figure out who said it in the first place and just reveal it to everybody.
And that's what I said on. So I posted this on my Facebook to share it and kind of voice my opinion on it, and people were commenting, and I made a point that if this was me, I'd be putting these people on blast.
Yeah.
You know,
showing everything.
And someone said that, which makes sense, that a lot of them are fake accounts. You know, people that just troll. They make a fake account just to go online and troll people. And then there'd be really not many ways to know who it was. They use VPNs and stuff. And, you know, and that plays so much more into the point of they're fucking cowards.
Yeah.
If you can't even, like, you shouldn't be saying it to begin with, but if you can't even say it without not caring that people know you said it, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, I think for a lot of immature males, the internet is that one last bastion of unfiltered, you know, you can do anything goes and say anything, and that's the freedom, because you can hide who you are. That anonymity protects you at all times.
Yeah.
And I think until we take down that wall of protective anonymity, that's when, you know, you're going to see changes right there.
Online, I think, is just the caveat for the behavior. I think ultimately we need to break the cycle of men believing that they have the right or entitlement to say these things without any recourse.
Yeah.
You know, that we feel that we can just belittle women because we think that we are better than them, or, you know, we're using it. I cannot stand when people use their privilege to bring others down, whether that be being a man. We're privileged as men. We have a lot of things are easier for us. You know,
absolutely.
we know the battles within the workplace with equal pay and things like that. You know, so as a man, you're privileged, and when you're using that to belittle women, you're a piece of shit. If you are a white person and you're privileged and you're using that to belittle people of color, if you hate racism. No, show me your boobies if you hate racism. Probably not the best caveat. I mean, like, we're not sexualizing women, but here's the thing: don't be a racist piece of shit. Don't use the things that are easy in your life to bring other people down, to bully people, to make people feel bad about themselves. That shit angers me, and I think I don't know how we do it, but we have to, as men, hold each other accountable and break that cycle of feeling superior and that we can do what we want and it doesn't matter. You know, like that's a big issue. And online anonymity. Can't say that word. Online
anonymity
allows men to do that without having any kind of retribution or anything, you know, and that's a problem.
So, like, the argument to that is obviously, you know, anybody who listens to this and doesn't agree, they're going to say, well, that's, you know, an invasion of privacy and all that. You know, it's breaking down a wall of protection that I have. But I feel like until you call these guys out, that's the only way that you're ever going to see any kind of changes.
Here's my rebuttal to that. If you feel that it's okay to say it, then you should feel it's okay to say it and for people to know you said it.
Right.
If you need to be anonymous,
but that's the same with racism, though, too.
Right.
Yeah.
If you feel that you don't want people to know you said it, you know it's wrong.
Yeah.
So don't say it.
Yeah. So if you set it on a message board somewhere under, you know, I don't know, Superman 45, you know, then you should be proud of saying that. Yeah.
You should not. The way I don't remember where I saw this, but who said it? It was a pretty big name person, an older gentleman, before our time a little bit, but he said something that plays kind of into this topic, and it was when he interviews people, when he interviews his managers or when he has a conversation with his managers, he would ask them when they're talking about maybe reprimanding an employee or corrective action with an employee or something, and how they would handle that situation.
Yeah.
He would tell them, if a news article was written about what you did, would you be okay with the story that was told? So in the way that you handled the situation, if it became a news headline, how would you look in that situation? Same thing under this situation. If you wouldn't want a quotation with your name along with the words that you sent to someone, then you probably shouldn't say it.
Because the one thing I'll say about myself is when I'm online and I look at like a girl that I'm attracted to on her page or something, I will purely admit it. I am human. When I see them, automatically I think sexualization thoughts.
Of course.
I don't think there's anything that's going to change that for me. That's just the way I'm built.
Right.
But there's never anything that has inspired me to comment on somebody's page. Anything like what is on that video, which is disgusting, and it's scary.
Absolutely.
Scary, even worse than disgusting.
Right. I don't think there's nothing wrong with we're human.
But I'm saying,
and women are the same. They have sexual attraction to other women or to other men. And it's okay for us to feel that way. It's what you do with it.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the barrier. So like I can look at a woman and go, God, that's a sexy woman or something like that. But I'm not going to go like, man, I'm going to fucking, do all this and all that. Like I'm not going to comment someone's page.
Right.
It's in here.
Absolutely.
That's all it needs to be.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. Guys talk, women talk too. Women are sometimes just as bad.
Women
as
are very dirty. Yeah.
But we might see someone online on Instagram or TikTok and we send it in our group chat and we're like, man, she's attractive. That's harmless. I'm not saying you can't find people attractive, but if I'm scrolling my Facebook or my Instagram and I find a female that I find attractive, you shouldn't be going in their DMs and sending them dick pics or sending them inappropriate sexual messages when they don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
It's creepy. They don't want to see it. You're not winning any points with them. No female is waking up in the morning to their DMs to some random guy saying, man, you're fucking hot. I wish I could bang you. And thinking, oh man, let me friend request that guy because maybe I do want to bang him. No, they don't fucking care. So they don't want to see it.
What's even creepier about this, and like when you think about this in the same level of like, serial killers or something like that, think about it as like you find out somebody that you're close to is actually doing this.
Yeah.
Like these are people that are among us. These are our peers. You know, these are people we interact with every day.
Have to hold ourselves accountable.
And if you found that out about them, just how different things would be, how your interaction would be with that person. That's why I think breaking down that anonymity is the only way to do that.
Absolutely. And just and holding yourself and your friends to the same standards that you believe should be held. If I found out that Chris was sending lewd, inappropriate messages, I would confront him about it. Hey, don't think that you should be doing that. What's going on? Talk about it. Let them know. Have a conversation. It's the same thing that I expect from people when it comes to racism. We need to be talking about it. We need to be calling our friends out. We need to be having those conversations because it's the only way things are going to change. And this is no different. And I watched that video and I was just like,
horrified.
It's just horrifying. And it's a normal, everyday thing for women every day.
Yeah.
And it's sad because women just want to have a social media just like us. I don't have to wake up in the morning to 60 DMs on my Instagram account of girls freaking sending me nudes and telling me they want to fuck me and whatever and belittling me. Like, I don't have to worry about that. I can have a social media page and live my life and it's perfectly normal. But as a female, it is completely different.
Isn't that strange?
It's completely different. It's sad.
Like you would think though, by the same barrier, like at least maybe one woman would find you like, and would
it happens.
say the same thing.
Oh, it happens. It has happened. But but not to that. I mean, okay, I might get a message here or there. It has happened. I mean, I'm not saying that it's never happened. I've had people slide in my DMs and stuff. But it's not to the level. Like, it's not overbearing where it's like I dread getting online because of it. You get a message here or there, you just swipe it and you delete it. Females are getting it all day, every day. Yeah. I had a friend not long ago on Facebook who screenshotted her Facebook inbox. She had like 500 friend requests in like a couple days period of time.
Oh my God.
Of just random dudes. Just don't do it. I don't know where people think that we talked about. I don't think we talked about it on the show, but I talked about it on Instagram or something about guys that send women dick pics. No chick is jazzed up about that. No one is waking up and being like, oh man, some random dude sent me his dick today. Cool. I don't know where guys think that's what that's getting them.
Yeah.
No one wants to see it. It's not in like, if you're not in a significant relationship with someone and your guys are cool with that, that's totally fine. But saying that to the random girl on Facebook, oh, Gabby Gowd, she does the sports stuff for FanDuel. I'm friends with her online. We chat and stuff. And she had posted a screenshot of her DM of a dude sitting on his bed, like whacking off. And he sent it to her. A complete stranger. I'm like, Gabby, put him on blast.
Yeah, I would be exposing
Put him on blast.
Yep. Does he show face?
No.
Yeah,
that's why I'm like, you need to put him out there, man.
Yeah.
It's just not okay.
It reminds me of, so as you were talking about this, did you ever see those videos, like a woman on the street of New York where she'll record her interaction, like a POV cam or something on her chest, and she'll show, like, it's cleverly on her chest, so she'll show all the guys that like look at her
calling and stuff.
Yeah. So like those videos to me, those really tell you the most. And you can find these people because obviously their faces aren't protected. You can, figure out who's who and all that. And there's been ones that I've seen, obviously not to this gratifying nature that you're talking about in the video, but there's ones where, they'll pursue a girl and they'll be pretty forceful about it. So I think those ones, those are the ones that you need to find.
Blast them.
Yeah.
I've seen something like that. I think it was on TikTok or Instagram maybe or something. But what it was is women putting their cell phone in their back pocket with the camera recording.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like people like checking them out. Now, I'm guilty. I have checked the girl's butt out before, but I'm not like following them around the store or trying to talk to them or like harassing them. Like if you see someone attractive, it's very normal to look like to double check.
I'm guilty of that 100%.
I think everybody is, females included. But in these videos that these women were doing, it was a guy checking them out, but then following them.
Yeah.
Around the store.
That's some
and
creepy
that's just
shit.
Creepy, man. Like, what do you think you're doing? All right, enough of my soapbox on that one. That shit just drives me nuts. It just makes us look bad. Like as normal, nice men, it just makes us look bad.
Well,
and I just.
So this is a problem with a 36-year-old single person like myself. This is why dating is very difficult for guys like me. So like, I'm not of that persuasion. I never would be. I would never say anything. First of all, I wouldn't have the balls to say anything like that to a woman, even with anonymity.
Awkward.
And then, so you go through all this and you see, like you said, the 500 friend requests and all that. I'm like, this is why I'm not able to talk to a girl.
Right.
Yeah.
It's got to be very hard. And I apologize to the people that go through this, women and people that go through it with race stuff and just being bullied in general. We just got to do better. We got to hold ourselves accountable and hold your friends accountable and just don't be that guy. Just don't. You're not going to get anywhere with it. You're not going to get anything from those people when you act that way, and if you're doing it just to bring them down, you're just an awful person. And I don't really know what to do to fix you because you obviously don't give a shit. So, anyhow, we went way off on tangent there. No. The other thing I had on was another school related thing, and it was based on a New York City school. I wish Jesse was here for his take on this, being a teacher, but Chris, your opinion on this. Starting in September, the biggest school district in the country, New York City school district, will open schools back up to full in-person service, no remote options, no split class, half home, half in school. You will be 100% back to being in person, face to face. What do you think about that? You think we're ready for that? I mean, you think about somewhere like New York City that is extremely highly dense, highly populated. And to go full on and not have any sort of like breakup. Do you think it lasts? Do you think maybe they try it and it doesn't work out? What are you thinking?
And kids under 14 haven't even gotten vaccinated yet. So right. Like, they're just now starting to get into the kid levels of vaccination.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard to say because, you said August it starts. Like that's
September, like whenever the school year starts,
right?
In September, I think.
So we'll say right around Labor Day just to be safe.
Yeah.
3 months down the line, we'll definitely be better off if it keeps trending down. I think it's one of those wait and see kind of things, though. I think that's where they get it wrong, is that to project this 3 months in advance might be a little premature. To me, I would almost say this has to be one of those decisions that's made spontaneously within the week of, like, like, hey, we're going back to school this week. We've made the decision. We're sending kids back because the numbers are so low. You can't just look at it from the numbers that they are now, because we could trend back upwards again.
Right.
Then what? I mean, the easy answer is you can change it. But in the same instance, if you keep changing it and you keep going back on that, there's confusion. And then people aren't even going to send their kids to school to begin with.
Yep.
So I think they need to make sure that this is the right move at the right time. And it feels like with everything opening, it might be that way. I just wish, I hope by then I'll say that
it's the right choice.
Well, one, that it is definitely the right choice, and two, that kids are more universally vaccinated.
Yeah. I think it can come off premature.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's any regulation or legally or anything they have to announce so far in advance so people can prepare for it. But I think this early on, where the school season hasn't even ended for this year,
That's
or
true.
It's about to end, it just might come off too early. Because like you said, I think you're worse off when you say we're going to do this and then you change it and then you change it and then you change it. Like, do they know 100% right now that they're going to be fully committed to full in person come September? You know, like a lot. Obviously, by then we should be trending up, you know, to being in a better place. But do we need to announce it right now?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do here. I don't know what Akron's planning on doing or Ohio's doing as far as schools come September. I don't know if DeWine has discussed that yet.
I think with our cases, it's a lot easier to interpret that, because where we're at right now is we have 38,000 active cases right now in the state of Ohio. It's not a lot, like, you know, in the grand scheme of things. New York is still the number 2 spot, the number 2 state where this is hitting. Now it's trending down, obviously, but that's because it was so bad in the first place. When you're up here to begin with, this looks pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think about how densely populated New York is.
Yeah.
The airport there I think it's LaGuardia. Is a huge hopping point for international travel. So you got people that are coming. I don't even know if international travel is having right now, but it's a big jumping point for people coming in and out of the country. So they're having a lot of cases is not surprising.
International is happening. You just have to be tested both times. Like when you leave, you have to be tested. When you come to the new country, you have to be tested. When you go back, you have to be tested.
What a trip, man. That's a lengthy travel time frame by the time you do all of that. And if you have to quarantine or whatever, but
Canadians have it the worst. Because if you're a Canadian and you go to America, you have to lock down mandatory 2 weeks
in a Canadian facility, a Canadian mandated quarantine facility, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found that interesting. We'll see what happens come September. You know, what schools rolling back if things get back to normal. Speaking of DeWine, tonight is actually the first DeWine multi-million-dollar drawing. So drawings are on Mondays and then announced on Wednesday. So first announcement will be Wednesday, the 26th. But tonight they will have made their selection of the first winner of the $1 million.
And when I win, you'll see a new revamped studio.
Yeah. Hey, we'll all know, because you have to sign a waiver saying you're okay with them telling everybody, which I think is fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's pretty stupid.
I
mean, your friends will know anyway.
I think they probably did that to deter some people maybe from signing up. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because
Makes
people
sense.
don't want to be told, which only helped the people that did sign up because there was less people involved. So,
well, and the thing is, so looking at the website, because I signed up for it, obviously.
Yeah.
I like that you do have to prove it. Like, so you have to give where you had the vaccine, and then they look up like, well, we got to look with Walgreens if he really did do this.
Yeah.
I like that. But at the same instance, it's not really specific in terms of, so some people have said you have to have both shots. Some people have said you only need
From
one.
what I read is you have to have had at least one.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just be scheduled. You have to have received at least one shot. That's Ohio. Now, I know you said this is federally mandated and other states could be participating.
There's a couple. The one I know is Minnesota for sure.
Yeah. So Ohio, from what I read, though, is you have to have received at least one shot so far. So, which at that point, they're assuming if you've gotten your first, you're going to get your second one. So you'll be fully vaccinated. But yeah, so that happens tonight. Wednesday will be the first drawing. So we'll have to see. It'd be really cool to see if somebody I knew won. Not to get money, but just be cool to see somebody I knew won that. That'd be fucking cool.
Just to prove that somebody actually won it. Because my problem with a lot of these, poor comparison, but Facebook competitions where they say like, oh yeah, share this and you'll get a free car and all that. I'm like, nobody's winning anything, dude. They're doing this for shares out of their website. They win from free advertisement. You don't get shit from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I always find those skeptical too.
Yeah.
Another thing, speaking of COVID, it wasn't on my list, but you said you had your first non-mask experience.
Yeah.
This past weekend.
Yeah.
Where Target?
So I went to Target. There were two places I went. Target was the first one, and the Circle K.
Yeah.
I'll just say a random Circle K.
Yeah.
And so you want me to describe?
Yeah,
it,
I'm just kind of what. So what was that? So I've been curious since they've announced, since a lot of these places have announced that if you have your vaccination, that they will no longer require masks. So I've been wondering.
Giant Eagle did today.
Yeah, I've been wondering for people that have experienced it. Are they asking for a card? Is there a sign? Or are they just taking honor system? What was the experience like?
So I went into Target and I saw everybody else walking, and there were a couple people that were still wearing masks.
Yeah.
So I figured, I'm like, well, yeah, I'll put mine on, no problem.
Yeah.
So I walk in there. There's nobody out there asking anything, nothing. So as I get a little deeper into the store,
did they have a sign that says if you are vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask?
I looked for that. There was nothing that was out there. So that's why I was a little timid at first.
Yeah.
So I get a little deeper because I'm going back to buy a shirt, and I get back toward the wardrobe section, and I saw like there was literally like 3 teen girls who walked past me, nothing on their face, like totally, no mask on them whatsoever. So I looked at that, and then I just kind of like looked around. I was studying my environment a little bit, and I noticed one of the workers there didn't have one on, and I noticed.
So even the employees.
Yeah, and I noticed like there were a couple of other people. So I walked over to the woman who was in the changing room, and I said, and she didn't have one on either. And I'd said, so I know I'm a little behind the times on policy and all that and everything, but so are you guys requiring this? And she goes, no, if you're fully vaccinated. And immediately I thought of the thing you just said, as far as, well, how do you know who's vaccinated and who's not? Like, you didn't ask anybody at the door who was.
Right.
So I was like, well, I'm fully vaccinated. I'm like, I don't mind wearing it, but she's like, take it off then. I was like, okay, cool. So I didn't wear it the rest of the time I was in there. I was in there maybe 15 minutes. And I saw, I would honestly say it was about 50-50 that was wearing it and who wasn't.
So what that leads me to believe is one of two things. The people wearing them
either don't feel comfortable,
are probably the ones that truly are concerned about COVID.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. If you're one of the naysayers that there's been plenty of, whether you're vaccinated or not, you're not wearing your mask at this point. You've been given a door to walk through,
and I'm walking,
and you're going to go through it. So if you're wearing a mask, that leads me to believe those are the people that truly care and have not been vaccinated, or are concerned, because otherwise you're not. No one's checking.
Yeah.
And no one wants to be, just like when the mask mandates rolled out and no one wanted to be the person to have to be the mask Nazi and say, put your mask on. No one wants to be the person to say, are you vaccinated? No one's going to stand at the door and say, are you vaccinated?
Yeah.
Are you vaccinated? Like,
the thing is that even cards can be hacked. Like, they can be, somebody can print a card off and fill it out themselves.
Unless there's some kind of
computer that you can figure out.
Unless it's got a hologram or something where they're going to have a black light or something. They're going to scan like your driver's license to know it's real. I could print one and laminate it at home, and you just flash it, and they're gonna be like, okay, no one's gonna check it.
There's a lab in Delaware. There's an article about this online. You can find it. A lab in Delaware that's printing out like bracelets.
I saw that
for that. Yeah. And like a lot of people are talking about how it's an invasion of privacy and all that bullshit. HIPAA laws do not extend past medical. But yeah, so I think that's one of the only ways you're going to prove it. The second instance, real quick, obviously I said I was at that wedding this weekend.
Yeah.
So when I was going to the reception afterwards, I was the first one who made it to the hall. It was like right down the street, about 5 minutes from the wedding place.
Yeah.
So I get there and I knocked on the door, and a woman came out. She was masked. And I said, oh, okay, so what's the policy on this then? Because there's no sign, there's no nothing. She goes, we encourage you to wear masks. We don't force you to wear masks though.
Yeah.
And I go, So I waited it out to see how, like, I went right back out to my car and I sat there for about 10 minutes and I waited till everybody else showed up, and I saw, a few people going in. Nobody's wearing masks. Not one person in that reception hall wore a mask except for the people working there.
Yeah.
So I said, fuck, I'm not wearing a mask either. Then.
I mean, you've gone through, here's my thing. And this is where things get so contradicting is they've been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, get the vaccine. We're even paying people $1 million to get the vaccine.
Yeah.
If it's that big of a deal and we're pushing the vaccine so hard, it should be no question that at this point, you don't need to wear a mask.
Yeah.
The whole thing was you had to wear a mask because you're not vaccinated. Well, now you're vaccinated. You shouldn't have to wear one. It should be no question. It shouldn't be enforced anywhere. It shouldn't be for employees. It shouldn't be for consumers. If you're vaccinated, there should be no reason at this point where they say, well, you're vaccinated, but no. You should just be able to not wear a mask at this point.
I think it's too late to go back on that
You
anyway.
can't.
So as I said, I went to like Circle K this weekend and like I got gas. I went inside and there were still people wearing masks in there. And there is a sign outside that says we're following local protocol. So, you know, and it showed wear a mask and all that. So I wore one in there, but I realized there were still 3 or 4 people that walked in there that weren't wearing them. I honestly think there's a lot of confusion going on.
Yeah.
Because you've got the CDC that's saying one thing, you've got DeWine that's saying another, you've got local people like Horrigan who's saying something completely different.
Yeah.
It needs to be nailed down.
It just needs, I mean, I guess the simplest way about it is if you're vaccinated, you have the option. If you're not vaccinated, you don't.
I'm not going to.
Make a streamlined message across the board, state, federal, local, whatever. Vaccinated, you have the opportunity to yes or no by your choice. And if you're not vaccinated, you're still required to. It should be that simple.
Because I was one of the first ones in line when this started. And at that point, you could argue I risked my life because there was so much unknown about this.
Right.
And I didn't want to be the first one. I said I always wanted to get it, but I didn't want to be first in line.
Yeah.
So going in was a big risk. Why would I risk myself if there was no reward at the end of it?
Right.
My reward is I don't have to wear a mask anymore.
Yep. Yeah. I'm curious to see at this point how long until vaccinated or not vaccinated it's required or not required. They've pushed that at outdoor gatherings you're not required, that if you're not vaccinated they suggest you do, but they're giving you your own choice.
Anything outdoor is like pretty much off the table.
Disney is saying outdoor spaces you're no longer required to wear it. You know, if you're in the queue line or whatever for the rides, you might still have to, but outside you're not. So I'm curious how much longer we get until we're to the point of COVID is coming past. Make decisions for your own at this point. If you want to wear a mask, cool. If you don't want to wear a mask, cool. How long is it until since vaccination that we get to that point? You know, I'm kind of curious to see where we get to that.
As they said, there's never going to come a time in our future where COVID just doesn't exist as a whole, where it's completely dead and it's gone and we're at zero. That zero is never going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be like the flu.
Always going to be around in some small increment here and there. Maybe it's 20 a day, maybe it's 50, you know, all that. I think there's going to come a time where all of us who aren't wearing masks, you know, now, once it's gotten established, are going to interact with it. And it's up to our bodies to determine how we're going to react.
I think it comes to the point that it's like anything else that you could possibly get.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be something similar to the flu where it's a yearly thing. It might evolve. It changes. Maybe you get it. I mean, the flu shot is available every year. It is available to you to get every single year by choice if you want to. So if the COVID vaccine becomes a yearly vaccine that you can take by choice at CVS and you walk in and say, I want to get it this year, that you do that.
Yep.
You know, there's plenty of diseases and colds and things out there that you can get any day, anytime, that we just learn to live with. And it's just a part of being healthy and keeping up with your hygiene and stuff to try and avoid getting sick. You know, wear the proper clothing when you're outside and cover your mouth, wash your hands. Like, that's the stuff you have to do for the flu. I'm not downplaying COVID, but we're going to get to a point where we have to eventually treat it as any other possible sickness or virus that you can get, and you take as an adult or as a responsible person whatever precautions you feel are necessary to protect yourself. And if that means you wear a mask, that's cool. If you want to wear a mask just in the winter when it maybe is at a higher risk of passing because of flu and coughing and sneezing and stuff, cool. But I don't know how much longer we go until, this isn't me bitching, this is just an honest question. Like, I don't know how much longer we go until it's just back to, you know, getting to that point. So it is what it is. I continue to wear mine when necessary, and I will do so. I will continue to do so. I'm ready to not, just because it's freaking hot out. But
you won't be wearing it a lot, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the ability. I mean, most things I enjoy doing this time of year is going to be outside, so for the most part, shouldn't be much of an issue. But yeah, so that's it for COVID right now. Maybe someone will win the $1 million on Wednesday that I know, and that would be super cool. Hopefully, it's Chris
right here.
The last thing that I got for us is, so we are almost halfway into a new, what is it, decade? Every 10 years?
Yeah.
Or that century? Decade? Century's 100 years?
Yeah.
So we're about halfway through the new decade, the 2020s. And I was
We're
going
not halfway through the 2020.
I mean, halfway into the first year of the decade. I'm sorry, not halfway through. I'm an idiot. Halfway through the first year of the new decade. And I was, so the 25 sports moments or whatever for this year, I had pulled up this 25 things that happened in the last decade around this same time. So early 2010s. I'm just going to read through those and kind of see if there's anything cool that we reflect on. So about this time in the early 2010s, Apple released the first iPad. First generation of iPads.
Does it say what year that is?
It doesn't. It just says this is early 2010s.
How many iPads do you have now?
Oh my gosh. I mean, we're on iPhone 12.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, iPhone's been coming out forever at this point. I mean, I've had every iPhone since the very first one. I'd say iPads, I don't know. We're probably on generation 5 or 6 at this point. They don't release new ones as often as the iPhones. So, but yeah, so number 1 on the list was Apple released its very first iPad. This time, about 10 years ago, Lady Gaga wore her flank steak dress to the VMAs.
Remember that? God, that performance too.
Yeah, wild, man. And everyone was like, "Is it real meat?" She wore meat, man. Flank steak.
Yeah, when she did paparazzi, man, and all that blood started squirting out of her neck too.
She's wild, dude. One Direction was formed about 10 years ago. Apparently, they were formed. I didn't know this. They were formed on the X Factor UK.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because another pop star that I follow, British one, Cher Lloyd, she was friends with them.
That's cool.
Yeah, I know.
Apparently they broke up shortly after.
Oh, Harry.
Yeah. Is that where he's from? Harry
Styles, yeah.
Okay. I never really knew much about One Direction. It's been about 10 years since Instagram launched.
Oh God.
Which is wild.
When did you get yours?
As soon as it was out. I was pretty early on.
I've had mine. I don't think mine is 5 years old.
Really?
Yeah. I came late to Instagram. Facebook was 07. I remember that. I was MySpace before that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I got it around when it first would have gotten announced. I'm pretty sure. I remember it following someone online and hearing about it. So,
wow.
Big deal back, 10 years or so ago was when flash mobs was the thing. You remember that?
God,
so stupid.
Chapel Hill Mall had one. I'll never forget it.
Yeah,
they broadcast it online.
So awkward.
Yeah,
like just randomly showing up somewhere to do a big group dance.
Boy, that's asking to get your ass kicked big time.
It's fucking weird, man. This was a fun game. I played this for a while when it first came out. Angry Birds released.
Yeah.
Early 2010s.
Great games, horrible movies.
Oh yeah, I never watched any of the movies. Justin Bieber's Baby that came out.
Oh, that song.
Yeah, when he was just a little fucking weirdo, man.
That always creeped me out about women obsessing over him.
So
I mean, middle-aged women talking about how cute Justin Bieber was. I'm like, that's pedophilia.
Just remember that about the conversation we had earlier about guys. Women can be guilty too. You got to be careful. He was a kid, man.
Yeah,
creepy. Apparently, it was really cool to wear neon things. That was on the list. You were cooler if your favorite color was neon something. Bonus points if you had neon clothes. I don't remember that being a thing. Apparently, that was a thing.
I think the Miami Heat have the best basketball jerseys.
Yes, those are so dope.
I'll say that.
Feather hair extensions was a fashion must-have.
Feather hair Oh, you know what? I do kind of remember
where they
that
had it just like tied, like braided into their hair.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Really silly. You remember these? Did you ever have a Silly Band? Silly Bands was a big deal around 10 years ago.
I was thinking the slaps, but that's not what that
was. That's more than 10 years
ago. That was like 30
years ago. Silly Bands were just rubber bands, but they were in the shapes of different things, and people would collect them. There's like dinosaurs, and they would have words, and you would stretch them and wear them, and you would trade them with people.
I missed that one.
Yeah. Only reason that they were a little young for us. The only reason I know them is one of the places I work sold them. So they were a huge deal. Like we would sell out of them extremely fast.
How much were they?
Oh, it's cheap. You get a pack of like 8 or 10 for a couple bucks. Like nothing expensive. They were just different colored rubber bands that were molded into different shapes.
It's crazy what
And
things
you
get popular.
Yeah, and you don't hear about them anymore. I'd be curious to see if they're still a thing at this point.
I've never heard of those, I swear.
Gosh, at this point, I've probably had 5 or 6 of these, but everyone was getting Keurigs. Did you ever have a Keurig, or do you have a Keurig?
Yeah. We had one, it broke, and we never got another one. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
They're cool. I don't drink coffee, but I liked them for like you could do tea and hot chocolate and stuff like that.
We did hot chocolate.
I remember it was a big deal about them. People were saying they were getting moldy and really gross and disgusting inside, and that was a big Keurig thing for a while.
Clean them.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's been about 10 years since Keurig was super cool.
Wow.
The hide your kids, hide your wife.
Yeah.
That's about 10
Antoine
years.
Dodson.
That's wild.
Is that his name?
Antoine Dodson.
Yeah.
That's wild that it's been that long. It doesn't seem like that's been that long.
It feels about, it had to be early 10s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lindsay Lohan went to jail.
Which time?
I don't know. Like maybe I'm assuming the first time because it says Lindsay Lohan went to jail, marking the end of our childhoods.
You ever see her MTV show where she owns like a bar or whatever, like a beach bar?
No.
That's the fucking most ridiculous show.
I mean, it's weird to see her go from Caddy Herring to just being an absolute disaster. But
I don't know if she's Amanda Bynes level of disaster. That takes a lot.
She was what was the really annoying character she played on SNL or Mad TV or whatever? You know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking Bynes?
Mm-hmm.
I think you're thinking All That.
Oh, All That. That's what it was.
Yeah.
What was her character?
Oh, fuck. What was that?
She was like the real nerdy girl in her bedroom.
Yeah. She had the big glasses.
She was annoying, dude.
I can't remember.
People camped out in lines to catch the premiere of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Is it the best one?
Chris was not there for that.
I was not. Not privy to that either.
You were not allowed to start watching other shows until you watch Harry Potter.
Mar of Easttown.
God.
Was that the best one to you?
I honestly think that was probably my favorite Harry Potter. One and Deathly Hallows 1 and 2 were both great, but man, Deathly Hallows 1 was good.
That's like their Infinity War. Like,
yeah,
I think Infinity War is better than Endgame.
Yes, it was very similar, man. Deathly Hallows 1 is probably the best Harry Potter movie.
Wow.
Phenomenal. The finale of Lost was about 10 years ago.
I was big.
Did you watch Lost?
For the first like season and a half, I was into it. Yeah.
Did you ever finish it?
No.
What?
No. Because like I would watch it and I started getting angry. Like I didn't know how a show worked as much as I do now.
Yeah.
Now I would appreciate it better. But then I was like, I just want fucking answers. Tell me now.
You should go back and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the whole series over again, like maybe 2 years ago, and I just loved it just as much.
Is it available on anything?
It's on. Yeah, I watched it on Netflix or one of the channels, Amazon, Netflix, something like that. It was free.
Maybe I'll pick it back up.
I watched the whole thing start to finish again. I banged it out. Like I watched it quick, man.
Is it a good ending?
Yeah, it was a good show. I had watched it originally, but I just was one of those things where I was just like, man, I want to see what this was about again because I hadn't watched it since it first released. I was like, it's good.
The first like 10 episodes are really freaking good.
Yeah.
Man. Like they were really onto something with that. And you can see why it was a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah. There's some episodes and stuff and the storyline gets a little weird here and there, like most shows that run as long as that did.
Yeah.
But it was definitely worth watching. I really enjoyed it.
I like a good mystery.
Yeah. Apparently vampires were all the rage and really breaking out into movies, TV shows, comics, and things about around that time frame.
Shitty Twilight films and
Twilight,
that fucking, what was that awful
Charmed
romantic comedy? Oh, I can't remember.
Not Charmed?
No, it was that one starring Nicholas Hoult. Fuck, what the hell was that name? Oh,
I don't know.
He's a zombie and he falls for a human girl and they're in love.
Is it a movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I watched it in the movie theater.
Yeah.
What is that called?
It's the crazy bitch that Amber Heard. That's the girl.
What's that movie called? I know what you're talking about. I remember seeing it.
Yeah.
It's like a love story and whatever. I think that's the guy.
It's like on an airport tarmac or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember it was one of the scenes.
So yeah, zombie or vampires, I'm sorry, were all the rage apparently. That was started about 10 years ago. I don't know about this one. Our favorite 2-hit wonder, Tayo Cruz, released "Break Your Heart" featuring Luda.
Only gonna break.
That was that a song for you? You like that song?
I didn't like it.
I remember that.
But what was his other hit? Oh, I thought it's a 2-hit.
2-hit wonder, maybe just because it's two people.
That counts for two.
Because it's a hit for each of them.
I remember that song. I didn't like it, but
Yeah, I don't remember that one. Oh man. What else we got? So preteens were buying glittery shirts with awful food puns on them from Justice about 10 years ago. I do remember this. I remember that being a thing.
like what?
Just a really bright colored pastel shirt, super glittery, and then they would just say, I can't think of a pun off the top of my head, but just say stupid things that were like food related that they would just make corny. But I do remember seeing those shirts everywhere.
Okay.
I can't think of one off the top of my head though. It's been too long. I pulled a Jesse. My brain doesn't work like that.
Not a teacher.
I'm not. Prince William and Kate Middleton got engaged.
Yeah. Kate Middleton. God, that feels like it's longer though.
Yeah, I don't know.
That felt like 2006 or something like that.
Subplot, and William immediately started balding.
Yeah, no shit. That's a guy that needs to follow our advice.
Yeah, dude, just clip it. Maxi dresses and skirts had a moment.
Oh, hold on.
That was a moment.
I think I got a visual.
At a moment in time.
I recall maxi dresses.
Yep. Number 21 is Downtown Abbey premiered, and we all wished we lived in a giant English mansion with a staff of 500 cooks and servants.
I've seen the movie. I've never seen the show.
I never have either.
Mm-hmm.
Did you wish you could speak in a British accent?
Not after that. That shit was boring, man.
Yeah. Is it like that one? What's the one that was like Bridgerton?
Oh, I've never seen that. I remember you said, isn't that like a sexy show though?
A sexy show. Sexy show.
A sexy show.
It's a sexualized show that took place during that type of era. It's just like no interest to me whatsoever.
I know women love the one dude.
Yeah.
I think he's either black or he's just like dark skinned white guy. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And I don't think he's actually on season 2. He didn't get re-signed. He went off to do something different, I believe. Yeah.
Shows you how great that show is.
It was something with like, it wasn't that he didn't come back, but he like went on to do something different and he couldn't do both or something like that. It was
got big.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably going to do porn or something. It became very common to wear leggings instead of jeans or regular pants.
Dude.
Do you miss, or are you upset about that?
Dude, does it say on there who invented those? Because I'd like to write them a thank you note.
Leggings for me are only second to, and very close second to, sundresses.
Yeah, sundresses are sexy. Yeah.
Sundresses do it for me.
Yeah, good leggings though, man.
I like leggings. I do. I enjoy leggings.
So if you ever want to, we were talking about earlier about what'd you call it, catcalling?
Yeah.
So if you ever want to catch me in a catcalling, get a girl with some really good leggings on, and you'll I'll look instantly.
As long as you're not vocal.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing that's funny about leggings. So I was always, it kind of ties with leggings, but like leggings, sweatpants, comfy clothes. I was always anti going out of my house in that. I always felt like when I leave my house, I need to be composed. Like I need to have real pants on. Or shorts on.
You saying when you wear it or when everybody wears it?
Me. Mm-hmm. Whatever other people do, whatever. I mean, I never understood how people could leave their house and go shopping, and like, it was a huge deal for a while, and it was probably before leggings, because otherwise they would have just worn those most likely, where people would go everywhere in pajama pants.
Yeah.
I remember the Cookie Monster ones were a big thing.
Yeah.
And girls, guys too, but girls would go everywhere in the like flannel pajama pants.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could never go grocery shopping or like to the mall or out to eat or anything like that wearing flannel pajama pants.
I agree with you on the pajama pants for sure, because to me that looks tacky.
Yeah.
I think there's something about that.
It was always pajama pants tucked into Ugg boots.
You're very lazy. Yeah.
That was, and that always bothered me. But
fucking Ugg boots.
To their defense, the people that did that, is with leggings, they're very fitted. It works. You can kind of style them up.
I like them.
I never was about leaving the house without real pants on until joggers became a thing, which is the male leggings. And I will wear joggers anywhere and everywhere.
Is that on the list?
No, this is just my tying into the leggings, because I fucking love joggers. If I see a pair, I have to buy them, because I'm like, I will absolutely wear those, and you can never have enough of them.
Joggers, what are
they're just the tight, like I wear them around here all the time for the show. They're just the tighter fit sweatpant, but it looks nicer than like a sweatpants.
Okay.
I've got tons of pairs of them.
I don't like just regular sweatpants.
Yeah. They're just like a dressed up sweatpant, basically. You know, there's ones that you can get with like zip pockets on them or whatever.
Oh,
but
yeah.
like, I will wear those things anywhere, and it's just a sweatpant. It's a glorified sweatpant, but I don't know. Those came out, and I wear them to go out places. Like I'm going out to dinner tonight. I'm gonna put joggers on with a button-up shirt, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
Now you're falling for the same thing you're criticizing.
Exactly. And it wasn't until that happened that I could do it. It was something about like the bagginess of like the pajama pants and stuff that really threw me off and just seemed like sloppy to me. I don't know.
Well, and then, you know, they've always been washed probably 100 times at that point. So they look all faded and it just doesn't look good.
Right. Number 23 is a TikTok. Was number 1 on the Billboard's Hot 100.
That's you and Jesse, Big Pimpin'.
Not that. Kesha song, number 1.
Oh,
not TikTok, the app.
Well, yeah. Now you're talking my language. No, actually, that's the one Kesha song I probably don't like.
Yeah.
But her later career, I got a soft spot for Kesha, man.
Yeah.
I love Kesha's music.
Wow. I wouldn't have picked that.
I do.
Yeah. She's cool. I mean, I do like her style.
Yeah.
Her music style is pretty interesting.
And she found her way out of a fucking hell of a situation with her manager.
Yeah. I don't know much about her career, but I know a song here or there, and she's cool.
Yeah.
Number 24. This one, Chris, you should definitely remember. Crackled nail polish started to emerge and was the fiercest look around.
Crackle nail polish.
Yeah, you don't remember wearing crackled nail polish?
What an asshole.
I don't remember that much either, but it was where they'd have the one color and then you'd put the other color on and it looked crackled.
What's crackled though?
Trying to think of a way to explain it.
Where one thing has to be explained by another.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a way to explain it. Like where you'd see the other color like through it, like it looked like cracked paint kind of, and the other color would emerge.
Okay.
Yeah. Crackle finish was really big in like DIY home renovation type stuff. Like people would crackle finish their tables and stuff.
Oh,
and I think it's probably around the same time frame that like it became cool in nail polish.
So I know that more from that than I do on. I didn't know that was a nail polish fad.
You'd paint your dresser black.
Yeah.
And then you'd apply like a white paint with a crackle finish, and it would start to like antique and fade.
Yeah.
Same thing, but for nail polish.
I gotcha.
So probably around the same time frame. Somebody was watching freaking Bob Vila. I was like, oh, let's try that for nails.
Good old Bob.
Yep. And finally, number 25 is Nicki Minaj wrapped her iconic Monsterverse.
Oh,
I guess that was cool enough to be number 25.
That deserved to be mentioned.
I guess so.
Okay.
So that's the top 25 BuzzFeed cool things that have happened in the last decade.
Awesome.
Yeah. I didn't read through that before I put it on the list, so some of those are probably really disappointing. I'm sorry, but
I think Instagram blows my mind the most.
Instagram, yeah, that's wild that's when. I mean, it's weird you think about like the time frame, and I mean, I remember when Facebook was college only.
Yeah,
you know, when you could only have an actual college email to sign up for it. You know, so
were you that early to it?
Yeah,
God,
yeah, I had the Akron UEDU email, and
that was like 04 or 05 or something like that.
04.
Yeah.
I'm pretty positive 04.
Because I was 07 when I came onto Facebook.
When it was no longer college.
Yeah, no, it was open. In fact, all my friends had it by that point. I was late to the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember thinking, oh, this is cool. Like it was exclusive. But then also that extent there wasn't as many people on there because you could only be college based.
It's true.
You know, so but yeah, it was cool. That's all I think we got. That's all I had on my list. Anything you want to leave us with, sir?
Apparently, I gotta piss.
All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. That is Made to Motivate Podcast. Make sure you tune into the show every week. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell on YouTube so you know when the new videos launch. And check out our pages individually if you can. We appreciate the support. At Jesse Young SI on Twitter. Chris, the Film Freak Kessinger. Check out the Film Freak Review page on Facebook. And I am Ryan Weiss. You can check out rockeverywhereinc.etsy.com to follow my art and apparel page. We appreciate the support. And, of course, at Made to Motivate Podcast on all social media sites. Thanks again, and we'll check you next week.